Yo, what's up, people? Welcome back to ThinkSpace. I'm hanging out with someone I think is super, super cool. I'm hanging out with a super athlete. There's not a lot of people that come in here that's a super athlete. There's not a lot of people on the planet that are super athletes. 0.1 of probably like 1% of the planet is super athletes, and I think I got one next to me, which is kind of cool. I love doing this podcast. This podcast gives me such an opportunity to meet so many different people from so many different genres. And like, I may be a cool dude, but I'm not that cool of a dude to go up to stars and people that are super accomplished and ambitious people and be like, hey, come chat with me. But if I'm like, hey, I got a podcast, they're like, oh, really? And just show them the content. They're like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah, opportunity to connect.
It's fun. It's super fun. So I'm sitting down with Luckie here. You probably know him from Luckie Lifestyle. Luckie is an Ironman, a triathlete, a former model, one of Vancouver's most influential influencers, if you will. Former model, former bodybuilder. You getting back into the modeling?
Nah.
So you just look
not in that way.
Okay, gotcha. So you just look good every day, and that's just your thing.
Yeah, if you want to.
Well, you're in front of a camera a lot, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm looking forward to hanging out with you for a little while. Luckie, welcome to ThinkSpace. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm excited to be here.
How's everything? How's life? First and foremost, how are you?
Good. Doing amazing.
So you have a couple races coming up, do you not?
I only have one left.
Only
this year,
one
actually.
left.
Yeah, I have a half marathon that I decided to sign up for last minute. Just because I never ran one, but I did an Ironman. I was like, it kind of makes sense to run one.
Yeah.
I was like, let's try it out.
Sure, that makes sense. When is this half marathon? Sorry, how long is a half marathon? Half marathon?
21.1 kilometers.
Okay, so a full marathon is
42.2.
Yeah.
Just double, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Full marathon is 26 miles?
Yep.
Yeah. Where is this? When are you doing it? Is it going to be a breeze for you?
It will. Depends how fast I want to go.
Sure.
But it's the MEC half marathon, and it's end of September 31st. I have no idea where it is. I should check that out.
You should know if you're going to run.
But it's cool. It's just a test because they block off the road, so no one's going to be in my way, and I can just like go.
Right, except for everyone else that's going to be running with you.
I'll be behind.
Obviously.
Middle.
Right. So you don't want to injure yourself for these Ironmans coming up, eh? Or what do you think?
Honestly, my next big race is next year after that. So I'm off season. I'm off season after this one.
Off season. That's hilarious. You can't get injured for sure. I mean, that's where you can, but it's definitely a big setback.
Yeah.
So Luckie, you're someone that because you're crafting yourself into a superhuman and a super athlete, that you have to take all aspects of your life seriously in a sense.
Yeah.
Which means, I mean, when we think of wellness, we think of, obviously our mental wellness, our physical health, wellness, our sleep. There's so many different avenues into that. What do you, when you think of a fully optimized human, what comes to mind?
Oh man. Well, there's the cliche like mind, body, spirit. That kind of englobes everything, but then you have like your surroundings, the people around you. Your nutrition plays a massive role, and then you can go into different types of herbs that would help you. That would kind of fall into nutrition. And then training, how you're training. Yeah, there's like different specifics with mind, body, and soul. You can just go deeper into all those those aspects.
So let's go into that. So mind, body, soul.
Yeah.
So is the body the easiest or the hardest?
For me, it's the easiest.
Why is that?
Because I started really young. I think I started working out when I was 12 years old. Started playing basketball. I was like 10. Started lifting weights. I was 12, and I've always been active since then. It's the one aspect of my life that I've never struggled with.
Completely constant.
Yeah.
Like any time were you fat?
No. Like I got bigger, but by choice because I wanted to be a power lifter. That was my goal at the point.
Sense.
Like I went up to that, but I've always reached my goal in terms of fitness and diet.
Yeah, no, and that's hard for a lot of people. So that comes naturally to you. So when it comes to the mind and the soul, how a lot of people will put those in the same category. How do you differentiate those?
Well, the soul, I see it more as, for me, would be the meditation component and going to church. So I'm a Christian. I go to church every Sunday, and that's a big part of getting me realigned every week. And the meditation component. I do it every morning just because I feel it's like, the way my girlfriend put it, that's the best way to put it. She's like, it's like putting on a layer of protection for the day. And I never really understood what she was saying by that until I started doing it. And I was like, wow, like I feel really calm when something's happening. I'm not necessarily reacting. I'm pausing. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. So instead of being reacting to everything, I'm more in control. Meditation totally gives you the tools to just be like, okay, this is what's happening in my surroundings right now. This is what I'm experiencing. This is what the universe is throwing at me. Yeah. What can I do? Yeah. And that's why I do it in the morning, because usually before I started doing all of this, I would check my phone and I'd react notifications on Instagram. You start answering emails DMs, at 5 comments, in the morning. All that shit. It doesn't make sense to start your day with that. You're all stressed up and then you're going to make your coffee. Sucks. For sure. So then a lot of people don't even realize meditation is extremely difficult. A lot of people don't realize that because they never tried it. Because in a lot of people's mind, meditation is like woo-woo. Yeah. Which is insane. I'm like a modern hippie. It's being a hippie. You can be you can dress nice and do normal things and still do all those things. I love it. I love it. Me too. That's completely, I'm a hippie in disguise all day. Yeah. So when you started meditation, did you start with a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or how did you even get into it? I went hard. I went for 10 minutes right away. But it was like a rabbit running around the whole 10 minutes. I still have 70% of that time is me thinking and then catching myself and then bringing myself back. It's work in progress. I don't think it's ever going to end. But even to this point, 8 months down the road, I still have a good chunk of my time where I'm just thinking about I got to do this today. Oh, I'm supposed to be meditating right now. Come back. Bring it back. Well, that's the practice of meditation. That's what people don't realize. You know it as a formal ball player. It's you only get better when you mess up. So that's meditation is okay. I'm here. Oh fuck! I got that water on right now. Shit. Okay. No. I'm here. Oh my God. Did I buy those for last night? Oh, what about that date tonight? Right. Yeah. And it's just and then you get frustrated with yourself and then emotions come in, but that's the beauty of it. And that's why I've gravitated to it, is just because the more you fail, the better it is. Yeah. You say 70% of your time is, your thoughts going in a different way. Yeah. Man, that's a decent number. Yeah. like when I first started meditation, it was 90% of the time was spent on, all these different projects I'm working on, these different relationships I'm managing or whatever. And it's okay, no, back here. And I spent 10% of my time meditating, but really the whole time you're in the process of bringing it back. Did you ramp it up or do you still stick with 10? I'm at 12 right now because I found a good song that's 12 minutes. Nice. So it makes it easy because I can't have my timer on because my girlfriend sleeps at that time. So I just pick the song, put my earplugs on. When it's done, it's done. Yeah. So you're meditating 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning? Yeah, depending on most days. I have a rule of how much I'm supposed to wake up early before I have something to do. Usually it's a workout. It's I'll wake up 2 hours before I'm supposed to start my workout. So it leaves me time to meditate for 12 minutes, and then I pray, and then I have a gratefulness journal that I do, and then I make my vegan bulletproof coffee or matcha, and then I read for an hour. Okay, so and then I start my day. Okay, but that's my time to do my thing and center myself. 2 hours. Yeah. Wow. So if I have a workout at 6 in the morning, I'm waking up at 4 to get everything done. Yeah. No, for sure. But I mean, it's not like you're getting up and you're working at 4 a.m. or whatever. It's you're taking that time out for you specifically. So just to gravitate back, you said meditation in reference to the soul, and you also said church. Yeah. How does that now, we look macro, we're thinking about being a super athlete. Yeah. So how does that relate to being a super athlete? Because I know there could be connections there, but that's maybe not directly apparent to many people. Yeah. Right. So that would kind of fall into obviously the mind a little bit in the spiritual aspect, but it's not necessarily a set of strict rules that you need to live by. But once I go there, every Sunday I come out, I feel realigned. I feel like I'm back on track. And there's certain rules that are in the Bible that are in every self-development book that there is out there. It's the original self-development book. And by following those guidelines, if you want, those better my relationship with my girlfriend, my dad, my brother, just the people around me. And if all that is getting better and I have good relationships, and I'm feeling good. And when I'm going to do my workout, I'm not thinking about, look, I had a fight with this person or this happened in my life. It's like, no, like I'm taking care of my life so that when I train and I'm focusing on optimizing my body, like that's all I'm thinking of.
So you can have that mental clarity, be focused in, and probably get better results from it.
Yeah, definitely. Because my mind is not somewhere else.
Totally. So when it comes to the body aspect, there's obviously nutrition is your bread and butter.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a better two pieces of food there, but is your coconut oil and espresso? I don't know.
Carrot and hummus.
Carrot and hummus.
There you go. That's super vegan.
Yeah, that's perfect. So when you think of body, you think of nutrition. You probably think of sleep as well, obviously for recovery. A lot of people would put that in the mind category. Not that everything needs to be in categories, but what else comes to mind when you think of body?
Well, the whole recovery aspect in terms of stretching treatments you can do, like deep tissue massage, chiropractic, cryotherapy, floating tanks. There's a lot of things that would fall under the treatment section. Pretty much those three, like focusing on treatment, rolling, massage, and how you're working out. Make sure you're working out properly.
Right. Yeah. So you're obviously an ambitious dude, and I know that you have the ability to push past your limits and naturally go towards that avenue of like, I'm at 90% right now. Like, let's get 110. You know what I mean?
I tell you when I passed out on the treadmill.
What?
Yeah, because like my heart rate got so high, my body just gave out, and I just like.
Oh my God! When was this?
Before my Ironman, I think it was like in May.
Holy shit.
You know, there's like a rule of like 220 minus your age.
Yeah.
And I was calculating, I was like, I'm at like 196. That's like my number for that calculation. And I was running and I was looking at my watch. I'm like, I'm about 192 right now. I'm like, what happens if I hit 196?
So you try to hit 196?
Well, I didn't purposely, but my sprint wasn't done. I had to finish it. So by the time I didn't even finish it, actually like 10 seconds before, like I passed out and I just fell and I shot back. And my buddy was running with me. He was like, dude, like, you okay? And I woke up and I was like, oh shit. Like that's what happens when you hit like 196.
Shit.
Yeah.
My mind goes to that fucking Will Smith quote where it's like, listeners will know where it's, you probably know where it's like, I know that quote.
Like, that's why I was like, this is what's happening right now.
It's like, if I'm on a treadmill and you're on a treadmill, one of two things is going to happen. Either I'm going to beat you or I'm going to die on this treadmill. And that's just immediately where my mind went to.
Pass out. It's not bad.
Yeah, come on, Will. He clearly never went to those extents. What a guy. I got to shoot him a DM or something, give him some hell. What the hell, first off. Second off, what did you say to your buddy?
Well, he kind of knew, like at the end, he knows that I push my limits.
Sure.
And he knows, like when I was training with him, I'm like, if you train with me, like this is how I roll, and you got to be okay with that.
Right.
Or else I don't really want to train.
Right. No.
Because it's just hanging out.
If
you go to 70%, it's just hanging out.
Yeah, it's bullshit. It's a waste of time. Yeah. But that being said, like for instance, there's different training methodologies where, for instance, Faraz Zahabi, who runs TriStar and trains George St. Pierre, he has a theory of basically you should never be sore.
Yeah.
Which I heard and is like, okay. You know, so basically you're pushing to 70 or 80% of your capacity so you can go back and spend a cumulative more time in the gym because you're not spending as much time on recovery.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
It's interesting. I was actually listening to him. He was on Joe Rogan, right? Not too long ago.
Yeah.
So it's basically the same concept as when you play basketball, you take 1,000 shots a week, you take 1,000 shots a month. You're taking 7 times more shots in a week. Obviously, you're going to get better over a long period of time.
Yeah.
For me, if I hire a coach, I put my trust in him. I do my research on a coach before and his philosophy. There's different training philosophies out there. When I hire a coach, I give him 100% of my trust. And if I don't start winning, I don't start seeing results, then I change coach. But I hired a coach and I was like, I give you 100% of my trust. And that's where the whole falling off the treadmill part comes in. I was like, whatever you write on that paper, I'm doing. Like, I'm not cutting it halfway. I'm not like, I'm tired, I'm sore, I'm not doing it. I'm like, whatever you write on that paper, I'm doing, no matter how I feel. So I'm like, be very careful about what you write because I will burn myself, but I'm not going to miss what's on the paper. And like that sprint, I wasn't done sprinting. And that's why I didn't stop. So for him, it's just his training philosophy. For my coach that I have right now.
Right.
And then down the road, if I change coach, has a different training philosophy, like I'll do my research on him. But I'll see how it goes. But right now, man, like I'm performing. I've been 8 months of training in a triathlon world, and I'm already like killing it. I'm competitive right now.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you put your trust in there. So whatever training philosophy is kind of, you obviously do your research, put your trust, and then from there, you know, you're like, okay, whatever's on the paper, let's go at it 110%.
And it's experimentation as well, right? Like if I change a variable, which would be the intensity of my training, that doesn't work out, then you just take it out, you change another variable and see what works there.
Right. Because as a coach, and that's a common thing all the time, is like, listen, we'll put down 20 reps, damn well knowing he's going to do 16. You know what I mean? But our goal in our head is actually for him to do 15. You know what I mean? So it's like, you obviously play mind games with and shout out to all the players that are listening right now that that know.
They're just going to do 15 next time.
Anyways, that's super funny. So sure. So you're going to a certain threshold. Now, a triathlon is a certain type of optimization. So you're not going necessarily for strength, but you do need to have a certain musculature to achieve what you need to achieve. It's not just, you're not sprinting. This is solely running. This is swimming, biking as well, right? Yeah. So there's obviously a balance there, because I know you're a guy that loves to lift weights. I also know you're a guy that loves to do the endurance thing and push his limits. So is there a balance there where you're like, I'm going to do 30% cardio, or maybe 30% strength and 70% cardio, or how do you strike that balance?
I leave all that to my coach, to be honest. So right now I'm at like, I think I have like 9 or 10 workouts of like endurance, like swimming, biking, running. And I have 2 weight sessions a week right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That strikes me as very little.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I was training like 6 times a week of weights before. But it's mainly maintenance and to make sure I don't get injured. Right. Because overuse injury for endurance is really easy.
So how does doing weight sessions help you do injury prevention? Like what about those workouts?
I have some exercise that I do from my physio, from my chiro, from my massage therapist. I'm just, the more I'm meeting them and learning about my body, I'm all crooked. Like my hips are twisted the wrong way. Like my body's torqued this way. My shoulders are turning the wrong way. So it's just doing exercise to bring everything back into place. I'm not necessarily doing like 8 to 10 rep when I'm benching, but I'll do some weird exercise on the wall to like make sure my scapula stays in the right place. And
stabilization and balance in different ways, for sure. How much have you found out about you was broken? Obviously a little bit, because I know when you first came out and you started doing these, when you biked to San Francisco and back, you were like, oh, my body's moving in all types of ways that I didn't even know that it should or could. Do you have a lot of like natural musculature differences, or are you a perfect human?
I'm not a perfect human. What do you mean though by per?
So like, for instance, for me, I have my right hip contorts a little bit more forward because I've had knee injuries in the past. So I've overcompensated. As a result, when I do long distance running, 20K plus or so, not that I do that very often, but my right hip will just be incredibly inflamed. I won't be able to move by the last couple kilometers type thing, or even in recovery. So that's just a basic little thing where, I think when you have an injury, or even when you learn how to move, oftentimes as infants and as young adults and even children, we're not taught the right way how to move. So we just go with whatever gives us direct results, not necessarily what's best for our development. So we have this idea of our mind, our idea of our body and our mind, and our real body, and then these things start to just disalign and not connect. Is there anything for you that you've really had to work on mentally and be okay, no, I can feel myself overcompensating, or something of that nature?
My feet when I'm running, 100%.
Your feet?
Okay. Because like I played basketball for 8 years before. Twisted my ankles probably like 10 times each.
Damn.
So like it's me hopping on one leg for a long time, and twisting the other ankle, then hopping on the other leg, and it's not necessarily even at the end of the day. And I also have flat feet, so if I'm jumping on one foot, and I never thought about keeping my foot straight, like my knee would just go in. So I had to force myself to stand and twist my feet on the outside, so I would have an arch. But the thing is, when I run, as soon as I lift my foot goes to the side. Because I forced it for so long, for so many years. Every time I run, it goes like, and it lands.
So do you have it like when you're naturally running and you just hit maybe even a root and you're like, oh, and then you just kind of fall out so you don't put the weight on it?
No, I like my ankles are strong now. Like I've worked on them, but it's just the fact that I force them to open up so much that as soon as my foot goes up for running, bam, and then when I go on to run, I land on the side of my foot. So the side of my shoes are all used up.
Gotcha.
But that's not helping my knees and my hips because I'm super unstable on the side of my foot. I'm supposed to be landing like this, right?
Right. So you're contorting then, which then puts your knee in a different position, which then puts your hip back, and then it's a chain effect.
And then my body compensates, and that's why I'm so crooked.
I see. So when you, for all the millions and millions of people that have flat feet, I have flat feet. It's obviously caused me injury in the past and pain, obviously, too. When you're running, where do you try to put your weight? Is it mostly on the inside, on the outside, holistic distribution? What do you do?
Holistic distribution, right in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, and trying to push off your 3 biggest toes.
Right, to give you the leverage.
Yeah.
Totally. Badass. Do you have issues with it when you go extreme distances? Or are you totally good today, like in terms of your arc?
Oh, no, I don't have anything in my shoes for that. I'd have to do exercise to strengthen my feet, because at the end of the day, it won't solve the problem if I keep putting those in my shoes.
So what's your philosophy? Like so for instance, Nike is infamous for these huge heels, which pushes your Achilles tendon and shortens it and then causes contortion. Even though it feels amazing, Air Maxes are obviously a $1 trillion fucking enterprise. Where are you on? A lot of long distance runners love cushion. A lot of long distance runners love as minimal cushion as possible so they can feel the ground. Where are you?
I'm still experimenting with that, to be honest, because I do have shoes. It's called the Hoka 1-1, where it's like their whole concept is like running on marshmallows because it's so thick and soft. And I have other shoes like Asics that are really thin. I didn't love the Asics at first because I didn't know how to run, so I was heel striking super hard and it would kill my foot. And then I switched to the Hoka 1-1, and then I started running properly. But when I'm heel striking, it feels comfortable because it's like landing on a big cushion. But if you run properly, I don't feel like you would need cushion because your heel would never touch the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if you would have like a massive heel. Technically shouldn't. If it's this big, it probably will because it's so big. So I would go towards flatter.
You would go toward flatter?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the perfect run like? Because a lot of running, like what I was taught as in PE class in the fucking 6th grade or whatever it was, or 12th grade, I don't know, was again kind of like a wheel, boom, 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 where my heel is touching the ground and then popping off of my toe. I've also been told that's incorrect.
It destroys your,
right?
In my experience and what I researched, destroys your knee and your hip, right? Because it's just like all your bones, everything's aligned. It's a straight line shock in your knee and in your hip. So what I've learned with my coaches is, I can't remember the name of the technique, but it's basically where if you're standing up and you start leaning forward and you start falling, as you're falling, you're going to put your foot on the ground to catch yourself, and that's where you want your foot to be in your center of gravity. So there's the bottom of your foot will be touching the floor.
Gotcha.
So you're basically catching yourself and pushing yourself forward instead of reaching out front. That's what happens when you heel strike, because you have to reach out front. Because if you're putting your foot in your center of gravity when you're leaning forward, you can't put your heel. It's impossible.
Right. So your whole body's forward.
Yeah. As soon as you start tipping, you put your foot to the center of gravity, and then it's when you start pushing.
See, these are the gems I need. I'm going to apply this tomorrow when I go for my run. No, for sure. So then you touched on meditation.
Yep.
Now, it's sort of in a similar category, would be maybe yoga and that mindfulness thing we kind of touched on, because with endurance athletes, not that I am one, but I've been around and, I do engage in a fair amount of athletic activity where it's like we speak about the zone a lot. Yeah. For me personally, yoga helps me get into a mind state where then I can disassociate my physical from my mental. Yeah. So when I put these two together, my natural instinct is like, oh wait, hold on, like we need to conserve energy and we don't need to be doing this right now. Why are we doing this? Right? Yeah. Like my body and my mind is telling my body, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah. Right. So when I go into a yoga practice or even a meditation practice, I can start to disassociate my body and my mind. Where it's just like my mind is completely well and functioning over here and my body is working at whatever percentage I need it to be. Yeah. Right. But that's for me personally. And as much as there's a million benefits to yoga. Yeah. What are some that you find?
I've done yoga a couple times in my life. Right. I don't do it right now, to be honest. I just stretch, foam roll at home and do my own thing.
Interesting.
Just honestly, for me, it's more time consuming to do like a yoga class or do like a yoga session than for me to like stretch out and directly do what I need to do.
Right.
Just because of the amount of training and everything that's happening in my life.
You're kind of like cutting out the bullshit. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. But like in terms of mindset, when you're talking about like, I don't know if you're mentioning about like racing, for the mindfulness part, I'm not super, I wouldn't say I'm mindful when I'm racing. It's like I want to be in this position, and whoever's in front of me is in that position. I need to pass him.
So you're binary.
Yeah. So when I pass him, I'm like, the next guy in front of me, he's in the position I want to be, and then I pass him, and that's how I keep attacking it.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't. Okay, so that's one thing, but then when you're in training, there's no one ahead of you.
There's numbers though.
Okay.
Yeah. There's stats. I love stats.
Right. You're a numbers guy.
There's a number I need to hit and I need to maintain. And sometimes it's a low number, which sucks. It's a low heart rate, but you have to stay in it because it trains a different cardiovascular system that needs to get stronger.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like my coach makes me train in zone 2 all the time, which Nick, if you're watching, I am doing. But so it makes your aerobic system that uses oxygen stronger because you want your heart rate to be strong enough to stay in that zone. Because if you're in that zone, man, you can run for like 12 hours if your legs muscle allow you to.
Right.
Like you'll never run out of glycogen because you're not using any or barely using any. So I'm trying to get my heart stronger to be in that zone. Because what's weird right now is my anaerobic system is really strong. I can sprint for an hour, but I'll be in that zone for an hour, which basically uses like maximum ATP and glycogen that you have in your body, like no oxygen. But I can stay in there for an hour, which is weird. Because with basketball, of like short sprints and stuff
wild.
like that.
Yeah.
But I need to train my zone 2 so that I use oxygen and I use fat as a source of energy so I can sustain myself for a long period of time. But you need a stronger heart for that.
Right. So you're building up your heart.
Yeah.
Interesting. So your cardiovascular is A1 right now.
Yeah.
Which I would expect it to be.
Yeah.
How much? So then you speak a lot about numbers and percentages. How much do you integrate technology into your life, and how much of this is up here, and then how much of this are you charting out or using different applications, or how do you attack this? How much do you integrate technology into your daily life?
Into my daily life, well, obviously I have my Garmin watch, which I really enjoy for training. So I'll have my basically my heart rate, the power I'm putting out on the bike, and my pace when I'm biking or running or swimming. In my daily life, man, just besides my phone and social media, I don't really use anything to track. Like I have alarms on my phone. I said on my watch. That's why I had to turn it off earlier.
Right.
I have one at 8:30 at night. That's like, all right, start slowing down and going to bed. And like I have blue light glasses that I put on.
Oh.
To like block the blue light at night, so it doesn't keep your brain active.
Right.
Yeah, I have like a whole routine for night, but I don't keep track of anything on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where'd you get your night routine from? Did you pick that up along the way?
Yeah, I was just doing my research because when I was going to bed at night, I noticed that like my eyes were always burning. Every time I closed my eyes, like my eyeball was burning because I was on my phone, like right in front of my face before I went to bed, and then I would put it aside.
Right.
And then when I would wake up in the middle of the night and I wanted to see what time it was before I had my watch, I would just like, I didn't want to look at my phone. I was like open my eyes like this, and I would try to look at the time without getting all the light. So then I started doing my research on what would allow it to block the light. There's a screen protector on your phone that you can turn on. There's one for laptop. It's called like D.Lux. You can download it. Makes it all like orange.
Yeah.
But when I started adding the glasses, the first night I felt a difference.
So
like
blue light filter?
Yeah. The first night, man, like it felt so smooth. My eyes weren't burning, and I slept like a baby. And it's the first time I slept like a baby in a long time.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Do you know who Ben Greenfield is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he's got some crazy nighttime habitual things that he like tries to fully optimize his body for rest and recovery. Yeah. And he has like an assistant help him do his whole thing. So that's
next level. I'm not that point yet.
We got to get you some more sponsorship money, and then
yeah, exactly. I feel it's going to cost a lot.
Maybe we'll get you there.
Yeah.
So outside of your phone and outside of your watch, you're really not that integrated in technology. But what I mean is like, are you tracking every second of your day? So like a lot of people will track their sleep, and that's a common thing. Do you track your sleep, your micros, your macros, your training performance? Like, do you, everything that you have knowledge of, are you just like, okay, let's go out and let's do it? Or is it like, okay, yeah, let's go out and let's do it. Let's record the numbers. Let's do that for a week, and then let's see what the difference is and what the progress is.
Yeah, most of it is in my head, to be honest. I've been doing this for a really long time, so I kind of know, like for food, I'll look at food and I'll know pretty much a macros for it.
Wow.
I can spot like I'm vegan now, but I can spot like 100 grams of chicken. Like I know what it looks like because I've weighed it so much. So yeah, when I look at food, I kind of have an idea of how many calories I've ate in a day, and I kind of know where I want to be at and how I feel. I've just been experimenting with it. I know if I sit at like 3,000, 3,500, I feel weak the next day. So 4,000 calories, I know I feel I'm good to go for the next workout.
Yeah.
I know if I sit under that, I'm not good. If I go over, I just feel bloated and heavy, and I don't feel good for my training, so I know not to go over.
Right.
Yeah.
How much sleep do you get every night?
Around 7 to 8, to be honest.
So you're 25?
Yeah.
So standard for your age? More? I don't know. See, for me, I'm like a 6 to 7.
Yeah.
Well,
I used to be at the 4 to 6 range.
Oh, I've been there many times. I've been there many times. I was at I'm a big fan of Ryan Leslie. Follow his work a lot. He's a tech entrepreneur, former hip hop artist, Grammy nominated, and he went to Harvard. And he adapted this Dimaxin sleep pattern, basically, which is it's for insane workaholics that need to minimize sleep, but maintaining cognition.
Yeah.
Which I had a couple of jobs over the years where it was just like I need to put in like 18 hours, and there's just no other way.
Yeah.
And so I experimented with it for a little while, and it was like the concept behind that, I believe, is you have one 90-minute full sleep where it's like there's a modified, so the modified version is 3 hours, where you have to go through your 3 REM cycles basically, right?
Yeah.
REM 1, 2, and 3 once or twice. You do that from 12 to 3 a.m. or 12 to 1:30 a.m.
Yeah.
You then get up, you go until 6 a.m., 30-minute naps. You achieve REM 1.
Yeah.
Then you go till 12 noon, 30-minute sleep. Boom, nap, right?
Yeah.
Real tight. And then again, you have an optional one at 3, and then a mandatory one at 6, and then you're back to 12.
Yeah.
So you're only getting a couple hours of sleep a night, but supposedly, now our research, I mean, because you're in this world, but our research on sleep is actually fairly limited in terms of where we are. Like our best research is not that good.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of studies that have come out since then where it's just like, there's a reason why we haven't developed past sleep, like in terms of evolutionary. But I was on that for quite a while, not even quite a while, longer than I should have been, no doubt.
Yeah.
So I know that life for sure. But for me, at that point in my life, it was all about striking a balance between remaining 100% cognition and mental acuity, and then minimizing time wasted sleeping, which is a terrible, in hindsight, terrible fucking way. Sounds ridiculous, right? But you're pretty good with 7 hours.
Yeah. At first, like, again, I was in the like 6 hour range. But as soon as I started training more, like I don't feel like I wasn't fresh enough when I was waking up to do my workout. Right. So I added an hour, and I started feeling better. So I added another hour. So like around 8's like ideal, but again, life's busy. Sometimes I get like 7 in.
Sure. So what were you at as a kid? Like some kids are just like heavy sleepers. For me, I was like, when I was 12 years old, I was like, give me 12 hours. I'll take 14.
Yeah. I was sleeping a lot as a kid. It's not until I got into basketball when I was a bit older that I was like, I'm just going to train all the time and not sleep. Yeah. And since then it's been crazy.
So back when you were in Quebec in the East, so bring us through that a little bit, because people don't get to this stage of life and optimization and enlightenment and realization easily. So walk us through that a little bit, your upbringing and how you became the Luckie you are today.
Oh man. I grew up in like I want to say a normal home. Sure. My mom, my dad, my 2 brothers. I was always a kid that would want to stay at home. I like just being in my house. There's that comfort there. I never liked partying. I never liked going out. I never liked doing crazy activities.
Introvert as a kid?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I know. I would just stay home, read books. Right. Then I fell into basketball a little bit when I got a little bit older. And
what's a little bit older?
Like 13, 14.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sure.
From the start. Yeah.
For basketball players, that's pretty old, but
So I got into basketball, and because I didn't make the team the first year, actually. That's why I started. Got cut.
Michael Jordan story.
Yeah. That's what everybody told me. I came back and I was in the next year. But when I started playing basketball, I discovered that I hate sucking at something. So I started playing basketball, and then people were scoring on me and they're faster than me. And I was like, fuck this shit.
It's a terrible feeling.
So then I started practicing. And for my last 3-4 years of high school, I would have my practice. I would play 2 teams. I'd have my practice in the evening and have another practice at night for another team. And usually before my first practice or in the morning before school, I would go shoot for 2-3 hours.
Right. So three workouts a day.
Yeah. I did that for like 4 years. And that allowed me to get recruited for college basketball.
Right.
When I got in my 5th year, I was like, I'm an okay player. I never thought I would go to college to play ball.
Right.
So it paid for my school, which was awesome. So I went there and played basketball.
Where's there?
In Collège Nouvelle Frontière.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He went to college.
Yeah. So the pre-university in Quebec. It's
Sure.
like,
Sure.
the 2 years you have to do before you actually go to university.
Yeah.
I went there, I played ball for, your program's 2 years, but you put on 3 years when you play basketball because there's so many practices and tournaments. So I did my first year, it was fine, I killed it. Like from my last year of high school to my first year of pre-university, I gained 60 pounds. I went from being 160 pounds, and that's kind of when I hit like 18. And my dad always told me, when you're 18, you can work out and lift heavy and like eat all the food you want to bulk up.
Yeah, go for strength.
So I went for 5,000 calories a day.
Oh my God.
And then like I puked the first couple of days because I couldn't get all the food in. And then I worked out super hard, and I went from 160 to 220 in the period of like just a summer. So I got there and my coach was
in a summer?
Yeah. So I got there and my coach was like, dude, like what happened?
Right.
He's like, you're slower.
Yeah.
I'm
no
like,
crap.
yeah, I'm big. So he used to call me Big Potato when I was around the court because I was super slow. But I killed it in college.
Right, because you just held everybody down.
Dude, all the rebounds are mine. Like my move was just to like hold the guy, not even jump. I would just grab the ball, take the time to put it in my hand, and then I'd put it back with one hand and I'd run back. That was my move, like every game, all the time. Like
I hate bigs like you.
Dude, it was so fun. I actually got a lot of technical fouls because I got so big.
Oh, really?
Like one day I saw a guy run towards me, and I was like, I don't have the ball, so I can't get a foul if I stay there, and he hits me. So he ran into me, and then I saw that he fell, so I turned around to go help the guy at the ball, and then the whistle blows, and then I have a technical because the guy twisted his ankle when he hit me. So that was my second one. So, I was out. But yeah, it got to that point. I got to the ref. I'm like, man, like he's weak. Like I didn't do anything.
Yeah, I stood there.
We have tape.
Yeah.
I'm like, you see the tape, you're like, and that's
it. Right, sure. So you get super big at college.
Yeah. And that's what got me to like weightlifting to get bigger.
Oh.
Because I went to 220. And then my second year of college, I wasn't doing so well in school. I wasn't like a super academic guy.
Sure.
So I couldn't play for a season. I was like, fuck that. This
That's a bummer.
Sucks. So I'm going to get bigger. So then I started training. And then I met a coach who was a bodybuilder. It's like, dude, you should try bodybuilding. I'm like, yeah, why not? Cool. Yeah. So I started training. I went up to 240. And then I started dieting with him. Took 3 months, man. I lost like 60 pounds in 3 months or something like that.
Crazy.
Yeah. I was super lean for show day. I had veins running up my stomach.
Crazy.
You could see where my bicep attached in my arm. It was insane.
Wild.
But that started my whole journey towards the like you said, the psycho component of training.
Yeah.
Because that was off the whim. It was not like I really want to do bodybuilding. It was like, I'll just try it out. And I dieted like a crazy person for 3 months. Like I wasn't even sweating for my last week of prep because my body just refused to sweat because I had like 4% body fat. My body was just shutting down.
Okay, so you're saying prep for
my show.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So my last week, like I wasn't sweating, I wasn't feeling well. I was freaking crying in the gym at the end because my body was like, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely terrible for sure. What do you do to your body?
Because I went through that, not really wanting it, I knew that if I really wanted something, imagine what I could do.
Right.
And that started my journey. It's like, I'm gonna become a power lifter.
Wow.
And I became super strong. I could lift my parents' car at the point.
What?
Yeah, I got as heavy as my dad, who's 6'8". I got heavier than him. I was like, I'm gonna be heavier than my dad. So I went up to 240 again, and then I could deadlift. I was thinking 600 pounds.
What are you?
Biggest lift.
You're 6'4", 6'5", 6'4"?
I was 6'4" at the time.
What are you now? What the heck?
6'3". I know.
What? Yeah. Oh my God! You better get this human.
Maybe it's all the deadlifting that like shrunk my spine.
That's so funny. So at that point, you're like, okay, basketball, whatever.
Yeah. So it kind of took the road because I couldn't play for that season, and then my grades didn't go up because I was focusing on training.
Of course.
So then I dropped out of college and I just did bodybuilding. And
what were you in college for?
What was I in college for?
Wow.
I don't know. I think it's like natural sciences.
It truly doesn't matter if you can't remember.
I was just there for basketball.
Right.
That's the only reason I was there for.
Yeah.
And I dropped out for like a semester. And then I was like, my parents kept bugging me about going back to school. And I was like, all right, like I should consider going back.
What did you want at that point? Like you're what, 19, 20 at that point? What did you want in life at that point?
I just wanted to train.
Just to be a bodybuilder?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had this desire from when I was a kid. I wanted to be in the militaries, but not because of the military component, just because of how crazy the training is. Like I just want to live that life of like training every day, and it's insane. I always liked that component of it. So training has always been something that it just became supernatural really enjoyed. Yeah. Right, I always wanted to be like a professional athlete at something. So then, I did powerlifting, and then I was ready to go back to college. I was ready to do homework. That's what I was ready to do. I was like, I'm gonna go to school. Like homework is a big part of it. I'm ready for homework. I went into class the first day and I had to sit there and listen to a guy for 3 hours read a book that I could read by myself. And I was like, I'm out.
And you paid for it.
Yeah, I'm like, I can read this book by myself. So I just went home, and that was it for me in college.
Wow.
Yeah.
Parents were pissed?
Oh, 100%.
Damn.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, well, if you don't go to school, you have to pay for rent. I'm like, how much? And he tells me, it was an insane amount at the time. I was like, I'm just going to go myself. Like, it's going to be cheaper if I live by myself.
Really?
So he's like, oh, if by next September you're not in school, you got to pay for rent. And in the meantime, I met a girl on Tinder, and
shout out Tinder.
Yeah.
Oh wow, this is Tinder early days, my man. This is okay.
So I went like on a date with her, and then the second date we went to her place, and then she's like, "You want to watch a movie?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Did you see the movie The Secret?" Like a documentary.
Oh my god.
I was like, I don't know what that is. So she puts it on, and at first I was like, man, it's like some hippie shit. And I was like bodybuilder like / douchebag at the time.
Right. Mostly douchebag.
yeah, mostly douchebag. So I was watching that, and at first I was interested in her, and then eventually I started listening. I was like, man, this stuff's crazy. Like law of attraction, all that. That's sense. Insane.
Yeah.
So I forgot about her and started watching it. And then I went home, and it was like, oh, like you want an amount of money, you think about it, and you start attracting it.
Yeah, you realize it. Yeah.
So I started thinking of an amount of money that I wanted to pay off my debt because I had a car. And then when opportunity came up, one friend of mine is like, oh, like I'm working construction in Alberta, and I'm making this amount of money per month. It was like $5,000. I'm making $5,000 a month. I'm like, man, that's my number. That's insane.
Yeah.
I'm like, but that's crazy. I'm not going to do anything about that. Like, what are the chances?
Mental note, but like, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks after, another friend of mine, she's like, oh, like I just moved to Alberta. My boyfriend's making like $5,000 a month working on the oil rigs.
So
I'm like, holy shit.
So wait, so when you say another friend of mine, you mean like another Tinder match is what you mean?
No. Like another friend that I used to do modeling with.
Oh,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So I was like, man, that's crazy. And for the first time in my life, I took a risk. I was like, you know what? Like, I'll see this as a sign, and I'm going to do something about it. So I sold everything I owned. With that money, I bought a one-way ticket to Alberta to stay with my friend. And I told my parents like the day before Christmas, I'm like, I'm flying out in the week.
Wow.
Like not too long after New Year's. And I've been gone since then.
So that's when life started.
Yeah, man.
When you sold your shit, bought a ticket to Alberta. You said you were modeling.
Yeah, I was modeling at the time.
How did that start? Because
also between the like bodybuilding and powerlifting part, when there's like maybe it was like a year period, I think. Right. From the time like that I did modeling for, and I was modeling when I was living in Alberta and all that.
So like what, 19 to 20?
Yeah, I think it was 19. I was around 19.
Sure, yeah.
I was modeling just in Toronto though.
Okay.
I was like Ottawa and Toronto, like small
model's a model, sure, yeah.
It was the beginning. Actually, like New York happened in between too, which New York was a crazy story.
Okay.
But yeah, moved to Alberta, made a friend in Banff.
Whoa, hold up. You can't just...
I can go so deep into all those spots.
Hold. Okay, so... I need to get this straight in my head.
Yeah.
So you went, okay, so boom, you're there. I love basketball. I'm going to college. My grades suck. All of a sudden, I can't play in college. Fuck this. I'm going to get super big. And all of a sudden, I mean, you probably have testosterone coming out of your ears. Right. Then...
I've told this story so many times that I skip spots.
Okay, right, yeah.
So I was training with one of my buddies who was a fitness model.
Sure.
And he was like, man, you should consider doing modeling. I'm like 240 with a big balloon face. I'm like, what is that, first of all?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, like, you know, like magazines, stuff like that. Like people get paid for that. I'm like, I never thought of that as a job. Like you just see people in magazines and flyers, but you never think they get paid for that.
But they do.
Yeah. Good money too. So one day he's like, oh, let's just, you know, go see my agent. So we went to go see his agent. And she's like, I see something in you. She's like, start losing some weight. Like I see something under the chubby face. So I start losing some weight and then we'll see, you know, what we can do with photo shoots. Right. And I was actually starting to prep to do a fitness model show because I wanted to get leaner.
Sure.
So I was like, it's perfect timing. Doesn't change anything.
It goes with my cut. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started cutting. I did my first shoot. And after I did my first shoot, I started booking a lot of jobs. So I started booking. I was like, oh, you can get paid for this? This is dope. And like your ego takes a boost. Everybody's like, oh, you look so pretty. Yeah. Back then, you're like, really superficial. And
right. I get it.
So I got into all that and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to make it in modeling. And I was like, I'm going to go to New York, get an agency.
Here goes Luckie again.
Yeah. You know, poor parents, man. So like, I'm going to go to New York, get an agency in New York. So I booked a one-way ticket. A train ticket to New York, which was like, is it supposed to be 12 hours? Ended up being 18 hours because it was like a boulder that fell and the whole track was blocked and I had to move it. It was crazy. But I made some lifelong friends in that train, which was really cool.
Okay.
Which come in handy later on in the story.
Right.
Got to New York and I told my agent, she's like, you know, like there's other ways to do this. I'm like, book me in like a meeting with every agency you can in New York. So I had like 6 meetings a day for a long period of time.
Wow.
I didn't really have money to be there though.
Right.
So for like a couple of days, that's when I was homeless in New York, just because I had nowhere to sleep and I had like no money for food.
So you're a model going to different agencies while on the street.
Yeah.
For how long?
I was in the,
like
I was
just
like
a day?
4 or 5 days. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus
but you
Christ.
get a gym membership, you take showers. And then when I would have some money, like I had to beg for some money for a couple of times.
Crazy.
Or, you go to a buffet, you just stay there and you just eat a bunch of food, which is not good for being super lean, but like you're hungry,
you need food. Yeah.
But you go for food at night. So you don't fall asleep, empty stomach, and then you're good the next day.
You-
And you're intermittent fasting for 1 meal a day. Yeah, there's a positive twist to it.
Yeah. Okay. So
I do all my meetings, and then eventually I managed to get money for a train back home. So no calls, nothing, no agency
happened.
took me. No.
Wow.
And like I was on the train, man, I was crying. I was like,
I failed.
yeah, I was like, that's a lot of meetings that I had. Like not one person. I'm booking all those jobs back home. And then eventually on the train, my agent calls me. She's like, dude, the last agency you saw wants to sign you. I was like, yes.
So
I was so happy.
And you can't just turn a train around though.
No, exactly. But it doesn't matter because they send the contract and there's a lot of like paperwork before going back.
Oh, perfect.
You need a visa
Gotcha.
to go work over there.
Right.
So I came back, took a picture with her in the contract. I was super excited.
Amazing.
And then, this whole thing of like meeting the girl because she was in the modeling world.
Right. Sorry, back to Tinder? No, not back to Tinder.
Yeah. Well, so that's sort of Tinder.
Oh, back to Tinder. Oh, perfect. Shout
and
out
then
Tinder.
that led me to do all this. And then I was still doing a bit of modeling on the side.
Right.
But I needed like a shift, and I had some signs that I should move to Alberta.
Yeah.
So I moved to Alberta, stayed with my friend, and then realized I had an uncle in Alberta, which I always knew, but I forgot about him in the whole process of me like being anxious and nervous about leaving home for the first time with no money and no place to stay.
So an uncle would be perfect in this situation?
Yeah. So I met up with him, and he's like, you can work with me if you want to. So he was doing drywall and taping.
Jesus.
So I started doing that with him.
to drywall.
Yeah. But I was still running my Instagram at the time. So I was still posting pictures of like old modeling jobs and just documenting my life. And then an agency from Milan saw me on Instagram.
Was Lucky Lifestyle a thing at this point?
It was Lucky's Life.
Lucky's
at that point.
Life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I changed it 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah. It was Lucky's Life at that time. But they saw my picture. They're like, send me a DM. They're like, hey, we really like your look. We'd potentially want to have you come and work in Milan.
Perfect.
I'm like, this seems super sketchy. A DM on Instagram.
Oh, well, yeah.
So I asked them like for their website, and I did my research. I didn't go through my agent because I like to get shit done. I don't like to wait after people.
Sure.
And your agent can be really slow sometimes.
Yeah.
I was like, cool, like Skype call, see if it's weird or not. The guy was legit. He's like, offering you a contract to go to Milan, and you would fly out in like, I had 2 months, I think. But I was like, I wasn't fat, but I wasn't in modeling shape because you had to send them pictures. I'm like, you need to lose some weight if you're going to come to Italy because it's really competitive. So I was like, yeah, for sure. Like I'll take care of that. Yeah. But what happened is, because I knew I was leaving soon, I wanted to get the most out of wherever I was. So I hitchhiked to Banff from my uncle's house, which amazing people in Alberta for giving you rides. I went there and I was staying at a hostel, and then a guy started talking to me. He was German. His name was Florian Schwartz. One of my good buddies now, which is, it's funny how I met him. He's just like, we're having breakfast, and he's just like, oh, what are you eating? And we started talking, and
nice.
And he's like, oh man, I have this idea. Like, I want to travel the rest of BC and Vancouver Island. But he's like, I have an international permit, but I'm scared to drive here, and I don't know nothing about cars. I'm like, man, I can help you. Like, I fixed cars before. Like, I know this stuff. Yeah, I know this stuff. So I went on Craigslist with him and started finding cars. I test drove a bunch of cars, and I was like, I got him a Dodge Caravan.
Nice, perfect.
Yeah. And then I was like, you know what, man? Like, I'm just going to not work with my uncle anymore, and I'm going to come with you on this.
Right, because that's logical.
Yeah. So call my uncle. I'm not coming back.
Jesus.
He found another helper. But, yeah, we got a bed, put it in the back. And then we left. We did Banff, we did Jasper, and then came down all the way through BC, all the way to Vancouver Island, like Chilliwack. We did everything.
That's the dream.
Yeah. So I was like 3-4 years ago.
So while you were trying to cut weight for Milan.
Yeah, I was living in a van, which was super hard.
Right. Well, it's probably not a lot to eat. I don't know.
And you get a lot of protein bars because you can't cook food. You can't store it because we didn't have a cooler, which we should have bought now that I think about it. But you have nothing to cook either, right? So we couldn't keep food. We had to eat what we bought. We had to eat.
Right.
Get pita bread and hummus, but it's pita bread and hummus.
Fuck, yeah. I got you.
You're going for runs in the morning. So we made it work. And then I flew from there to Ottawa because I had a fashion show there before I flew out to Milan, and it was kind of like a big announcement party that I was going to Milan.
Awesome.
And then I flew to Italy for 3 months.
Wow.
And so I worked there, got to experience the whole fashion world and how messed up it is.
So did they take care of you out there? Like, how was that experience? Like, just flying out to another country is crazy.
So I'll break this down for a lot of people that want to be models. When you go to other countries to model, it looks like they pay everything for you, but they don't. They front you the money. So your mother agency gets usually 15% of an international contract, and your international agency gets 35%. So you're left with 50% of the money you make.
Yeah.
But they fronted you your plane, they front you your apartment, they front you your expenses for your modeling book, your modeling cards. This adds up. So you have to pay all this stuff with like 50% of your income when you book jobs. So I learned I came out flat. I didn't make any money.
Brutal.
Yeah. And the apartment, they overcharge you. Like the price they were charging each person was the actual price of the apartment. And it was 4 people in our apartment in a 1-bedroom.
Savage.
Yeah.
So they did you dirty like they do artists. Like they do. So they give you the advance money and then say, oh yeah, we need to recoup that, by the way. So that check's ours actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Savage. So they're taking like 45% right off the top for booking you the gig. How do they justify taking that percentage?
For getting the gig.
Damn.
Yeah.
God.
And just because like they've built their name, they've built their brand, and people trust them as an agency.
Right. They can get the good gigs and all that shit. Yeah.
So it was worth it. I got to meet some cool people from around the world. I got to experience a lot of things and see what the industry actually was, because you don't get to experience that from local modeling. There's a lot of drugs, a lot of cigarette, there's a lot of just crazy stuff.
Wild stuff. Yeah. The world is crazy. What happened to your buddy that you got the van with?
But that's where I was going. So after he dropped me off at the airport, he drove down to LA. So, he did his thing in LA while I was doing my modeling. Right. But by the time I was on my contract, he flew back to Germany. So I was like, man, I'm going to take the bus and come and see you.
Obviously.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I took the bus out to like Switzerland and then ended up in Germany, and he picked me up with his dad, and I got to stay with him for like 2-3 weeks.
No way.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Do you guys still keep in touch?
Yeah,
awesome.
Definitely. Yeah, he's like he's like an entrepreneur now. He's killing it. Yeah.
No way. That's crazy.
So I stayed with him, got to experience a bit of Germany, but because I did stay a little bit longer than the 3 months you can have as a tourist, so I was there illegally.
That's not good.
In Italy.
When you get on that flight back, that's some issues there. No?
Yeah. So, but the thing is, we stayed up all night the night before. So my eyes were really red.
Logically.
And yeah.
Because that's the smart thing to do.
I was wearing glasses.
Right.
And then when they asked me to take them off, I was like, I'd rather not. Just because they would think I'm like a high or something, and then it would search my bags for like drugs, which I didn't have.
Yeah.
But I just didn't want to take off my glasses.
Sure.
And then they flagged me for that. So they put like a special sticker on my passport that I had to wait like 2 years to get rid of.
Wow.
But I went through like security. They pulled me aside. They checked my bag and everything. And I got to New York, and straight when I was in the line in New York, they pulled me aside. They asked me a bunch of questions. No weird glove thingy. They they had a bunch of questions for me, like, oh, why were you over there for this long? Blah blah. I was like, I was just visiting a friend.
Yeah. Which is crazy because you were super legit. There was no part of you that wasn't legit.
Well, I was working modeling illegally.
Well, no. Yeah, sure, there's that. But, like, there's no drugs. There's no, like, you're not actually, like, besides the paperwork, yeah.
And, like, that, and then I landed in Ottawa. My parents picked me up.
Nice.
But my luggage wasn't there. I only got my luggage a week after. And they, like, when I opened it, everything was trashed. Of
course.
Like, yeah. And then it had a big letter, like, suspicions that you had, like, drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So every time I would cross the border with that sticker on my passport, they would always pull me aside.
Right.
So now that it's renewed, I don't have it anymore, which is really cool.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. And then I stayed with my parents for, like, a month. But after having all this freedom of me traveling around, I was like, this sucks. All right. I have to come back at a certain time. I'm stuck in a basement.
Oh, man. Yeah, totally.
So I saw a picture on Instagram of a girl posting a picture on top of a mountain. I'm like, that's a cool mountain. Where is that?
You mean you swiped on it on Tinder?
No, I was on Instagram, that one, yeah. And she's like, oh, it's Mont Tremblant in Quebec, which is like 2.5 hours from my place.
Okay.
I was like, I'm just going to hitchhike there and see what it looks like. So I packed my bag. I actually have a picture on my Instagram. It's like, how do you call that? Those things that you wash your body with in the shower. It's like fluffy.
Oh yeah, I don't know what that is even called. Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah, but I put that on my cardboard. It's like freshly clean. It smelled good. And the first person that picked me up was like, "That's clever."
That's legit.
Hitchhikers don't smell the best. No, all the time.
Hitchhikers are trash. I should hitchhike all the time. For sure. That's hilarious.
So I put that, and then I got there in 2 rides.
Yeah.
And,
oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Dude, I was a beast at hitchhiking.
Well,
my average waiting time was 5 minutes between rides.
Wow.
I never waited longer than 5 minutes, except one time. But out of like 100 rides, 5 minutes.
If you ever hitchhike anywhere, you can be on the side of the highway for hours at a time, man.
Get a nice smile, man.
Yeah. You know you want to hear, I'm a model. I was just in Italy, I swear to God.
No joke, like 80% were women that were picking me up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought
bastards.
I think like women wouldn't pick me up because I was a guy alone on the side of the road. But no.
But he's got that musculature and those high cheekbones, and,
so
and he's squeaky clean, so hop him in.
It got me good rides. So then I got there, and I was like, oh, I don't know where to sleep. There's a mountain. I'm just going to go sleep on it. I'm just going to hike it up.
There's a mountain. I'm just going to go sleep on it.
Yeah.
Just want to meditate on that for a second. What the fuck?
It's a free hotel, man.
There's trees. It's coverage.
Yeah, exactly. It's raining. You're fine.
That's how this man thinks.
And then I was documenting the whole thing on Instagram. So Luckie became Luckie's Adventure.
Got you.
So I started posting a whole bunch of stuff, like people that were giving me rides, life lessons that were sharing.
Yeah.
And anyways, one person from my high school was following me. He's like, yo, dude, I live here. Do you want to come stay at my place? I'm like, yeah, for sure. That works too.
Wasn't that in love with this mountain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went there, and then the next day, like, they showed me town. I was like, it's absolutely beautiful here. Like, I would stay here. Mm-hmm. Like, why don't you? I'm like, well, I have nowhere to stay so far. It's like, oh, dude, we're moving to another spot. It's like a 3-bedroom. So they showed it to me. I'm like, how much do you want? He's like, oh, $500 for one room, which is okay. But I didn't have $500. I was like, that's a big closet you got there. How much would you want for that? What? He's like, I don't know. He's like, what if I give you $100? He's like, to stay in the closet?
Done.
Yeah. He's like,
sold.
He's like, yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool.
Damn.
So the whole floor was a queen mattress.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm only going to live here if I get a job.
Okay.
So I printed a resume. I went to the mountain where the whole village is. I went to Roots, Canada.
Yeah.
I went there. She's like, cool. Like, you're hired. He's like, when can you start? Well, I'm like, I have all my bags with me, so whenever you want. She's like, what do you mean? And I told her like how I came here. Yeah. She's like, oh, well, you want to start like tomorrow? I'm like, cool. I called my parents. I'm like, I'm not coming back. I'm going to stay here. So I stayed there for 6 months, man, sleeping in that closet, working there, and just making a whole bunch of friends.
What did your parents think?
That I was crazy. They still think I'm crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
So they must have established this probably as soon as you sold all your shit and went to Alberta.
Yeah. Yeah. They're still trying to figure it out. I'll put it this way.
Okay. So you sold all your shit. boom, Banff, all the way through BC, right? Or Alberta, all the way through BC.
Yeah.
From there, we go to Italy.
Yeah.
It's a quick stopover, fashion show. We come back, all types of problems. And now, where's your head at? Like, what are you thinking at this point?
That I had an average time of staying somewhere for like 3 months. I was just like a kind of rule that I created. For Mont Tremblant, I was making money before I left. So I was like, I'll just stay a little bit longer. And so just, I want to go back to something. When I went in Alberta and I met my buddy from Germany, I woke up one morning, I was like, I want a tattoo. What do I want? So I went to a tattoo shop and I went on Pinterest and I got this one. I got Fernweh, which means being homesick from somewhere you've never been. But it was in German because my buddy was German. Oh. And I was like, yo, that's cool.
Do we have that word in English? No, we don't. Like that of being homesick from a...
Yeah, but that's like German, right? They have one word for like a whole paragraph.
No, it's amazing. Yeah, no, for sure. Okay.
And then in Mont Tremblant, when I left, I got this tattoo here. That's all the lessons I learned there. So explore, learn, understand, create, and transform. It's everything that I've learned when I was living in that city. And then there's a lot of small stories from when I was in Mont Tremblant.
Right.
But the big image is that I flew out to LA for like a work conference. And while I was there, I was like, I might as well go to LA. Like I've never been to LA. So
why not?
I got a ride with someone and I went to LA. And then, so I moved my flight from Vegas to LA. Yeah. Because I was supposed to go back to Montreal and live with my buddy. Like it was set. Like I was moving in when I came back. I was in LA and I was like, no, this is really nice here. I'm going to stay here. So I called to see if I can get like reimbursed for my flight or like move it or something. They're like, no, if you cancel it, like you lose everything. Right. I'm like, cancel it.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was like, I didn't have a lot of money too. I was like, just cancel it. Like I have a feeling that I have to stay here. So do you know what the Man Talks is?
No, I don't.
So it's a like Vancouver organization for men where they just have like dope events and conversations.
Sure. Oh, Man Talks. Yeah. Oh my God. Who just, Gary Vee was at the one last year. Grant Cardone.
Real Talk
Did he come?
No, Grant Cardone wasn't there, but Gary Vee was there.
Who? When's this one? When's the next one?
So it got canceled, the one you're thinking of.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah, because they didn't get the people they wanted on time and all that.
Oh, damn. Yeah, that Man Talks is amazing. Yeah, sorry, keep going. Yeah.
So they had their first event in LA, and I didn't know what Man Talk was at the time, but I knew who Preston Smile was. Do you know who that is?
I don't.
He's like a spiritual motivational speaker on YouTube that I've been following for years at that point. So like, man, like I get a chance to meet him. This is dope. It's only like $40. So, so I paid to go to the event to meet him and meet all the other speakers. There's a man named Javon that was there. And when he shared his story, I really resonated with him. So I went up to talk to him after. He's like, hey man, I'm actually like doing this workshop next weekend if you want to. He's like, how long are you in town? I'm like, I don't know. I legally have 6 months to be here. So
sure.
Yeah.
6 months.
Yeah. So he's like, man, just come, like, you're covered.
Wow.
So the next weekend I went there and I opened up about shit that I've never talked about to anyone.
Wow.
And it was a group of men that I didn't know. Which made it easier because I was like, I'll never see him again. Now they're all close friends.
Funny how life works.
Yeah. So, but like I opened up about shit like me, almost taking my life away, me almost, having a kid, and there's all those things. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And when I got out of that workshop, I was like, what do you want to create now? I was like, whoa, that's a big question.
Yeah.
And as I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Like I feel in a position of power where I'm ready to create something big. But obviously can't do it in LA because I almost have no more money. I can only be here 6 months. So I looked at my bank account. I had $100. So I got
That's not going to get you anywhere.
So I got a good deal for a flight to Vancouver.
How good was this deal?
It was a one way, but
okay.
Yeah,
sure.
So I was like, man, like can I go back to Alberta and like work with my uncle, make some money and then go somewhere else? I couldn't go back to Montreal and have enough money for it. And then I was in Vancouver. I was like, who do I know in Vancouver? Like I've traveled through there. But I went on Facebook and I found my buddy Sam, who like drove from Montreal to there to be a stunt actor, and he was staying in Surrey. Like he's crazy. He's like us.
Okay. Yeah. He's one of us.
Yeah,
I got you.
So I was like, hey man, he's like, if I come to Vancouver, can I stay at your place? And he's like, yeah, for sure. Right. I'm like, cool. So I bought my flight, my flight, and I got to Vancouver. I stayed with him for a little while. Like I stayed on his couch, but he didn't have any blanket or pillows because he just like moved here, and he was kind of like as broke as me, but he had an apartment.
Right. So he was one level up.
Yeah, exactly. And it took me, man, I was sleeping on my backpack with my sweatshirt because you need something like when you're sleeping. You can't just sleep with nothing on you.
Yeah, I get you.
And it took me like 3 weeks of like going on Craigslist, trying to find gigs, make some money. My money, I was using it for food. But when I got to the point where I had enough money for food to feed me, I bought a blanket and a pillow.
Damn.
Which was like an upgrade. It was like the first like milestone in Vancouver. I was like, I have a freaking pillow and a blanket, man. Never underestimate that. I still have that blanket. Yeah, it's like, it's good memories. And then I started doing more work, meeting more people, and I started couch surfing at new friends that I was making. So I think I couch surfed 9 times my whole time. And for 9 months, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 couches.
Crazy.
Yeah. Wow. I kept getting closer though. It was like Surrey, New West, Mount Pleasant, downtown, and like kids and
decent.
I was getting closer.
See, that's when I was first. That's the first Lucky lifestyle video I ever saw.
Yeah.
And that was crazy to me because in my mind, every vlogger and every influencer is just like, oh, look at my beautiful life, da da da. And here you are, and the video was a couple of years old, and you were just like, so you guys know me for this, and you know me for this, and I just want to be honest with you guys, like, this is where I'm at, and this is where I sleep. This is a couch. This is not my place.
Yeah.
I don't have a blanket.
This is pretty much like a studio apartment too.
And so it was like, and it was just so surreal to me because it was like, oh fuck. I mean, that was what actually originally drew me to you because it was like, obviously we had connection in another way, but it was just like, oh, there's honesty here. Yeah. And that is so fucking rare. It's impossible to come by, and especially in Vancouver, you know, Vancouver, LA, these places we have a lot of
putting a front.
There's definitely a front here. And so that was what I was like, okay, yeah, absolutely, let's lock in on this. This is amazing. Let's follow this story. Let's go with it. And your videos from then, was that 3 years ago now?
No, I was 2 years ago.
2 years ago now?
Because I moved here 2 years in May.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh my
God. Crazy, man. I've only been here 2 years.
Wow.
The shit that we've built in 2 years.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. Wow. That's insane. Sorry, I just had a moment.
Yeah.
So you're there now. What was that thing that you wanted to build? Actually, hold up. We skipped something. For listeners here, we'll go over that word one more time.
To the German accent. Fernweh.
Okay, which means?
Being homesick from somewhere you've never been.
So Lucky has that on his right wrist.
Yeah.
With a atlas or a outline of the world on top of that.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, on his forearm is a...
it's a compass with mountains.
That I drew when I was high.
Well, it's my buddy's first tattoo on someone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
that's a pretty good fucking first tattoo.
Right? And he's like, what if I mess it up? I'm like, man, it's going to be a great story. So, so he tattooed me, and that's one of the stories from when I was in Mont Tremblant.
Yeah.
I got this tattooed, and I was going on a trip the next day. I didn't know where. Mm-hmm. So I just went to the train station, and I'm like, lady, close your eyes, put your finger on the map. And she did, and I was like, I want to take it to wherever you put your finger. She's like, all right, cool.
You're
it's a ghost town.
Sure.
It was a ghost town. There was no one there. So I had to like hitchhike to a mountain, walk to the highest one. I hiked it, and then slept up there. It was freaking cold. While my tattoo was healing, I had to like wash it with like river water, and I'm happy it healed properly, to be honest.
Sweet.
Came down the mountain, and I was like at a dead end road. Like there was no one driving there for like an hour. That was the time that I waited a really long time. And then eventually there's like one SUV, and it's a young girl in it. I'm like,
and you're like, perfect, let's go.
No, I jumped in front of the car. I was like, hey, like I need your help. And then she's like, super sketched out. I'm like, just don't even roll down your window, just listen to me. So I tell her I'm like, feel safe.
Yeah.
So I just tell her my story. She's like, okay, you can get a ride. And we were close to Lake Placid in upstate New York.
Okay.
So I went to that town. I had nowhere to sleep because it's small enough of a town where you can't just go in the woods and camp.
Yeah.
But it's still big enough of a town that's super expensive to get a hotel. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm just going to go to McDonald's, grab a bus the next day, go back to the train and go home.
Yeah.
But McDonald's closed at 11 there. I was like, man, this sucks.
The worst.
So I was like, okay, I need to like own up right now. Like I need a solution. What can I do? I'm like, if I set up my tent somewhere, I'm going to sleep really well. And I was walking by like a small lake, and there was a bunch of nice houses with a good backyard. I was like, I'm just going to go and knock on their door. So dude, first door that I walked to, I knock on it, they open up, and she's like, yes, hello. I'm like, yeah, I'm just like a traveler, and like I have nowhere to sleep. Do you mind if I pitch my tent in your backyard? She's like, oh, I was like, I understand that. She's like, come on in.
Wow.
And I had dinner with them, I had coffee with them, and they were travelers too. Like I just happened to stumble upon the family that was travelers. Yeah. And their son was my age, and he did similar shit. So they understood it. And you know what mech is, right? MEC, the store, Mountain Equipment Club.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So they own a smaller version of that in their town.
Oh, awesome.
And you're like, you can just sleep in there. There's like Wi-Fi, it's heated. There's like beds. Like we
tons
sell
of products everywhere you can steal.
Yeah,
like, what
exactly.
the heck?
Yeah, but like she trusted me from the conversations that we had, and that's how I travel. It was the law of attraction. Whenever you put out is where you get back, and I based my whole traveling, my whole hitchhiking like that. I never had a bad experience. Like everything was great. Everything always worked out.
Yeah, be a good person. Other people will be a good person back. So
yeah. And even if people don't know you, they just get your vibe.
Yeah, totally.
So I went to the store. I stayed in there. It was amazing. I documented the whole thing on like Instagram, and people were like, "No way you made it!" And the next day, my bus was at 11. I think I woke up at like 7 because they were in the store doing their thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yo, to repay you back, like, what do you guys need help with?" They're like, "Oh, well, we just need to paint the front of the store." I'm like, "I've painted before. I can do that."
Sure, no problem.
Painted that, raked the leaves, helped clean the Airbnb. They had like a whole bunch of stuff. I just helped them work. And like, whenever you come back, like you always have a place to stay.
Amazing.
Which I didn't do yet. I didn't go back
Yet?
but I have them on Facebook, so it's gonna happen.
So the other one, so obviously the family with the mountains, that's a good short little blurb too. I mean, I love how simple that is. So for listeners, as we work our way up Luckie's arm, past the woods and the mountains on his bicep, there is a shadow outline of a group of mountains with the word family underneath. 5 mountains. So what's that about?
Because we're 5 in our family, and my family came to see me in July last year, which is the first time they ever came to see me somewhere that I've lived. Because I've never stayed somewhere longer than 3 months, so I get them for that. But I had my apartment. I was living with my girlfriend Jen.
You were established.
Yeah. So they're like, "Oh, we're gonna come and visit." And it's actually at the time where like my tax money came back, so I was able to like treat them properly.
We can go to dinner.
We're going to Whistler in Mercedes, and we did that. It was crazy.
That's tight.
So on their last day with me, because they're gonna rent a car, go to Alberta, see my uncle and all that. My dad was like, we should all get a tattoo.
Amazing.
And my dad has one because he got one the first time I got this one on my arm. And my mom didn't have a tattoo, and she turned 50. So wow. And so we all got tattooed. My brothers, they all got it on their wrist. But I had plans for this one. I still do. So I was like, just put it here. Yeah. So we got 5 mountains, the word family, and it represents like, our first time being in BC and our first time like being as a family in 4 years. Wow. And the funniest thing is like when my mom was getting tattooed, everybody had their phones out to see her reaction, and she just stood there like a boss, and she was like, "I gave birth." It's like, this is easy.
No problem. That's gangster.
And she just owned it the whole time. She's like,
whatever, it's all good.
Yeah.
I pushed things out of my womb. You think this is a problem? Get out of here. That's hilarious. And then so on your what is this? Forearm. Yeah. Duh. Triangles working all the way up with different meanings. I just love the geometric like simplicity to it. Yeah. Sorry, go through it one more time.
Yeah. Explore, learn, understand, create, and transform. So was that a stroke of genius on your part, or did you draw inspiration from somewhere for that tattoo? Well, that's the lessons that I've learned. Like I was like, what did I learn here? And then I need to find something for that. So I love Pinterest. I'm on Pinterest. And I started typing those words, and then those triangles came up. And then it's funny how life works. I was like, oh, this triangle means this, and it like perfectly matches everything that I said. But also at that time, I went through some hard times, and it made me realize at that time that however you perceive a situation defines if it's good or bad. So you decide the meaning of whatever is happening. And then when I saw those triangles, like, does it really mean that? I was like, fuck it, that's the meaning I'm giving it to it. I choose that. So that's the other meaning to the tattoo. Maybe it means something else. Gangster. But to me, that's what it means. Yeah. Super gangster. Yeah. What made you stay in Vancouver? You've been all over the world. What made you stay? Tinder's hot out here. Yeah. I didn't go out here, but it was well, start from the couch surfing. On one of the last couches that I was on, that's a video that I made on YouTube. It has like 36,000 views on it now. Yeah. I met 36,000? Yeah. Bro, I saw that shit like 700. And now I make like videos that are better edited, higher quality, and they get like 2,000. I'm like, what? But again, it was authentic and people related to it. It was awesome, yeah. But that's about the time that I met my girlfriend. Okay. So I met my girlfriend, which is a huge part of my story in Vancouver and why I am the way that I am today and why I'm here. I I met her a month after I moved here, because someone was following me on Facebook, inviting me to like a party, and then hung out with them. And then her friend, who was Jen, who was an event planner, was looking for a waiter. She's like, Luckie needs money.
You were going to say a boyfriend.
No.
She was looking for a boyfriend.
Yeah. She's looking for a waiter for her event.
Yeah.
And my friend, our friend, common friend, was like, Luckie needs money. So yeah, so she put us together in contact, and then we started chatting, and we discovered we had a lot of similar interests and passion for life and trying to understand and better ourselves. But there was an age difference. So there was never anything there. Like we never thought of like, this could be something.
Sure.
So it took like almost 9-10 months of us talking back and forth.
Wow.
Yeah, of just like us hanging out, because she was older than me.
So did you know from the jump when you're like, hey, I gotta work with this girl, or was it just like, we're cool, we're hanging out and whatever?
Eventually, we're just hanging out, having cool conversation with me like every 2-3 weeks, and we would like, when you want to date someone, there's stuff you don't share.
Right.
Like we had those authentic conversation, and then one day I was like, I feel different towards her.
Wow.
Do I feel like she's a really good friend?
Or do I feel like she's something more?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I started exploring that feeling, and then it turned out to us like
And you're
dating.
How long have you guys been together now? 2 years?
It's going to be 2 years at the end of October.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Super cool. And she's a super authentic person in herself. If you don't know, please, or I'll let you plug it, because her story is just breathtaking in itself.
You want to go into it with the story?
I mean, please, share. Please share.
Her Instagram is the Boo Project.
At the Boo Project. First, foremost, great fucking name. The Boo Project is amazing. When that first came out, and I knew about it before it came out, and when you told me the name, I died inside. That was amazing. Yeah, and it sticks in my head so perfectly.
It's perfect. Yeah.
So Jennifer.
So after like 3 months of us dating, she had some suspicions that she might have cancer. There was a lump in her breast, and so we went to the doctors, did some tests, and I think the night before we had our appointment with the doctor, the next day, like we went for a walk, and we kind of knew at that point.
Right.
So the next day when we walked into the office, we were ready for it. So that was like a big like turn of events. It's like
crazy.
Now deal with cancer. A lot of people ask me, why did I stay?
Right.
Because we've only been together 3 months.
Especially as a person that bounces like you had bounced in the past.
But I realized that I've never loved someone that much before.
Wow. Yeah.
It just clicked. I'm like, I need to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Even though like me, like going from all my freedom and all that, which was, now I know that all my freedom was bullshit. I knew where it came from. It came from lack of freedom when I was younger, and I just wanted to rebel, and that's why I did everything.
Right.
I was like, I need to be here. And then she was living with a roommate at the time, so I kind of asked her if I could move in to take care of her. So we moved in together then, which 3 months after we started dating, we were already living together, which was like, I've never lived with a girl before. So I was like, oh man, there's so much involved in this. And eventually kind of realized that we needed our own place. So I started doubling down on working. I was working construction at the time.
Right.
And we got our first apartment in Olympic Village, and then we furnished our apartment because we had like 2 backpacks. That's what we had.
Yeah.
Now I need a moving truck to move my shit. What is that?
Christ, that's trash.
So we moved to Olympic Village together, and then we've been dealing with her cancer since then. So it took a year for her to come out publicly, and I think I told you like a little bit before.
Sure, but for listeners, please do.
Obviously she's diagnosed with breast cancer. Took her a year to go public and be ready to deal with it, because she made the decision to not do chemo, radiation, or surgery.
Wow.
Yeah, because from research and how she was feeling, and just from a spiritual point of view, she knew that she didn't want to do that. So that meant that we had to go the alternative side, which is a whole new world.
Which is unfinanced.
Super unfinanced, like extremely unfinanced.
Yeah. And what we mean by unfinanced is it's not government subsidized.
Yeah.
So there's a route that people are supposed to take when diagnosed with cancer, which is typically chemotherapy, and that's not a natural route, so to speak.
No. Not financed. So everything came out of my pocket, full price.
Right. Medicare is fucking expensive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I started funding everything myself. Started getting into debt to fund everything.
Just because she didn't have a job, or because
she couldn't work. She's a businesswoman. So
based on energy levels.
There was no insurance because she works for herself. And then it was like, okay, deal with this. So, you know, we managed to make it work for the past 2 years. But before she came out publicly, I wanted to find a way to help her out. Like, I knew we needed money, and I knew that there was other people that were in her situation. And I knew there were other people that were in my situation. They're like, I have someone cancer that I love, and I can't do shit about it because I don't have money.
Right.
And that's where the idea of going to San Francisco came out of.
Right.
I was like, I want to raise money for people that are in our situation. So I organized this whole trip where, you guys don't know, I biked from Vancouver to San Francisco. Never done a bike trip
with
before.
no previous experience. Yeah.
I've been biked like 5 years before that, and the longest biking I've done is like 15 minutes. Just like go across a couple of states.
Yeah.
So yeah, I managed to set up the GoFundMe, get some sponsors, and left, which was absolutely horrible. It was a fun experience, but my goal was to suffer.
Fun.
My goal was to suffer and get as close as I could to how she was feeling. Mm-hmm. Which I don't even think I came 10% close.
Right.
And I was in pain the whole time. Like, you're sleeping, your legs cramp up, and you're waking up. Your body doesn't want to fall asleep because it's so cold.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I went through pretty much for like the first 20 days.
So yeah, just to clarify, you weren't going and getting hotels and stopping everybody the way.
I was camping. You're
camping. So every bit of the money donated was going to where it was supposed to go to.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just,
No, I paid with my own money for the trip.
Exactly.
All the money I was raised went towards them.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Camping, and I vlogged every single day. Mm-hmm. Vlogging was harder than the bike trip. There's no Wi-Fi in the woods.
Right. So how'd you edit?
I would edit on my I would charge my laptop wherever
Sure.
I was at. I would stay and like eat some food.
Yeah.
I would charge it. I would edit super basic really quickly, and then I would export it while I had energy.
Yeah.
And then I have my laptop full, and I had to use the internet on my phone
Right.
to upload the video on YouTube.
Oh.
I was like over $1,000 of cell phone bill at the end of the trip. Yeah. I lost a lot of money on that trip, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
I managed to upload every single day for the whole trip. It took me 22 days.
Yeah.
Raised over $4,000. I got $1,000 for each patient, which was great.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely set out. I think you accomplished what you set out to do, even if you didn't hit
the amount that
you originally wanted.
I go big. I put 50,000 at first. I was like, whatever. If we're short 10 grand, that's still amazing.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, it's just like in terms of what you set out to do conceptually was accomplished 1,000%. Right. So
in a month. Yeah, I was sitting at the doctor's with her. I was like, that's cool. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everything started from there.
Right. So once you got back then, and obviously distributed that money to the patients that you were working with and very deserving.
Which was the most, like, there was one person, I don't think she has social media, but I won't say her name, but once we had the coffee with her, we had a meeting with her, and we're like, hey, this is how much we raised, and this is how much we wanted to give you. And she started crying because she was doing a lot of alternative stuff as well. And she's like, I had no more money for food. Like, I was wondering how I was going to eat today.
Damn.
So it's like,
crazy.
Here's an e-transfer. She's like, yes, this is perfect. And it was great to chat with her and see the impact of the whole trip, because like, it's me biking and documenting the whole thing. You don't necessarily get to see the impact until it happened.
Right. And I actually maybe it would have gotten you more views if you would have filmed the behind the scenes in terms of like your relationships with these patients and with these families.
Yeah, I would have needed more time because she didn't want to be on camera. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, one of the person passed away that we were raising money for. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't going to go see his wife and be like, do you want to film?
For sure.
Yeah. It would have been next project for sure.
You're saying that like, obviously I didn't do that, man. There's people that would do that. There's people that would go and stick a camera in that person's face, no doubt. Because that would be great content. And that's what a lot of people are out for. So once you finish that trip, where was your intent from there? So you were essentially goalless for a second, were you not?
Yeah, it was the worst. I hated it.
And I remember this very clearly because I remember you got back from your trip. First off, when you went on your trip, I was like, oh, fuck, cool. Obviously, he's going to do some crazy shit like this. Yeah. So I wasn't even surprised. And then you got back and I was like, wait a minute. I remember just telling my girlfriend, like, so what is he going to do now? I swear to God, it was a fucking day. I don't know how long it was, but like.
Yeah, I know. Tracy messaged me. He's like, you're always up to something.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I know.
What are you up to now?
Yeah.
What are you up to now? Yeah.
So, before I go into that, I enjoyed a chunk of the trip. I was biking.
Mm-hmm.
The impulsive side of me took over. I saw like a $50 helicopter ride.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I
was
remember
like,
that. Oh my God. Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just gonna bike in there, jumped in a helicopter with 2 other people because you need like 3 people.
Yeah.
And we just helicopter around for like 20 minutes
Yeah.
and get back down. I've never been in a helicopter before.
Super cool.
Yeah. I was like, cool, let's do it.
Yeah.
So you have to come back to me being goalless for a month.
A month? It was a month.
No, it wasn't that long.
No,
I don't
it
think
was
I can
not a
go
month. It was not a month.
I can go a month.
It was a matter of weeks. I thought it was a matter of days.
It was 2 weeks, I think,
Sure.
because it took me. Yeah, it was. Like, I think it was about 2 weeks. I was like, I need something bigger. But this time, like, I like to do it for me because I feel like I've been doing so much
for other people.
Yeah, but not in a bad way. But it's just like I wanted to have a goal for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I want something crazier than biking to San Francisco. Like biking to Portland now is like,
meh.
yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'd bike to San Francisco.
Yeah.
So like I need something bigger. And then I saw like I was on Google and I was just looking for like athletic stuff and Ironman came up.
Right.
I was like, I don't know what that is, but it sounds freaking cool. It sounds badass. So I started doing my research. It's like, oh, triathlon. What's triathlon? And did some more research, spoke to some people. I was going to do an Olympic distance triathlon before.
Which is?
So 1.5 kilometer swim, 40 kilometer bike, and a 10 kilometer run, which is super short. Well, by my standards, it's super short now. So I wanted to do that. And then I told my friends, and like, dude, we're doing a half Ironman. And like, Oliver, why don't you do a half with us? I was like, half is 1.9 kilometer swim, 90 kilometer bike, and a 21.1 kilometer run.
That's a half Ironman?
Yeah, it's a half.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude, a full Ironman is like 3.6 kilometer swim.
That's insane.
180 bike and a 42.2 run.
Wow.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah.
So why don't you do a half with us? I'm like, okay. And then my logic went to, I know I can accomplish an Olympic distance.
Right.
Like I know I can do it right now without training. I wouldn't be fast, but I could finish it without walking. Sorry.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a half Ironman, I have my doubts.
Yeah.
Like that's why I need to do that one. So I signed up for half Ironman in Victoria that just happened this past June.
Right.
And then I started training from there. So mid-November, it took me 2 weeks. I started training. And then I started doing more research on like how to train for this thing because it's swim, bike, run. I haven't swam in so long.
Right.
Biking kind of had it down.
Yeah.
And then running, it was just running at that point.
Easy.
But then the swimming was super hard for me. So I went in there and I did 50 meters and I was almost choked. I was dying.
Crazy.
Yeah.
50 meters.
Yeah. It was just like, that's one way.
Yeah.
I was one way. I was like, oh my God, I'm supposed to do this 1.5 kilometers. That's insane.
Yeah,
like, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And then what I did is I started listening to coaches that were coaching other people around. Like, this is how you put your hand. This is how you breathe. This is how you put your hand in the water. I was like, oh, okay. Kind of getting a hang of it. And eventually got better. YouTube. And
Like he goes back to YouTube, does his own research. Next thing you know, he's doing half Ironmans.
Third out of the water this race, man. Out of like 200 people.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I started training for that because I bought my watch in mid-December, which I started recording my workouts. So I have data from December from like 2017.
So how much better have you gotten since then?
A lot better.
Like, is it night and day, or were you pretty good from the start? I got a feeling like you're pretty good from the start.
Yeah, well, it was okay from the start. Like my swim was good. I think I swam 1.5 kilometers in 29 minutes, my first race, which I was one of the first ones out of the water, but it was a pool. So on the pool, you get to push off the walls.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's funny. Actually, my first race, there's a lineup. You go into like according to your time. I've never competed. I don't know how this thing works. And people are saying their time. They're like, oh, 30, 34, 28. And in my head, all I know is per 100 meter, how much seconds. It tells you your average speeds per 100 meter. I'm like, I was swimming like not even like a 220 for like that, for like 2 minutes, 20 seconds for 100 meters.
Oh, shit.
And they're saying like 30, 28. And I thought seconds. I'm holy fuck. They're swimming 100 meters in 28 seconds.
So
that's like a boat. That's fast.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go at the back of the line. So I went at the back of the line, and what ended up happening is when you swim, you feel the foot, you tap it, the person kind of moves aside, and you pass them.
Yeah.
I got in the water last, and like almost last, and then a foot. I'm like, oh, keep swimming.
Yeah.
Another foot, keep swimming.
Yeah.
I ended up passing everybody.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Jenna was like, dude, you're one of the first ones out of the water. I'm like, oh shit.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have like footage of me just being like, oh, okay, another person,
I'm
person.
a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then got on the bike, underestimated the weather. It was super cold. My bike was my bike for San Francisco, which was a steel frame, which weighed like a brick. Started biking, couldn't feel my hands, couldn't feel my face. My throat was killing me. It was only 40 kilometers, but at the end of the 40K, like I couldn't open my hands. I physically couldn't open my hands. I got off my bike and I almost fell. I couldn't grip my bike because my hand was stuck like that.
Crazy.
I ran the transition holding my bike in between my fingers. And when I got to my shoes, which I put like those little elastic thingies on it, I couldn't grab my shoes to put my shoes on.
No way.
Yeah, because my hands were frozen.
How'd you get your shoes on?
Well, over time, like I was pushing my foot in it, and I was like, trying to get my wrist, and it looked ugly, and I was like sitting there, and I was like, man, like open up, and I couldn't do anything, and then my pin ripped for my number, so I had to put a little piece of metal, frozen fingers. The whole time. It was terrible.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then did a run, and in my run, my legs were killing me because you're running after you've biked, and I was like, what's happening to my body right now? So I finished in 3 hours and 3 minutes.
What was your goal?
I didn't have a goal. I just wanted to finish it and not run, and not walk. Sorry.
Yeah.
My last race, which was in the ocean.
And then you were like, yeah, let's do this again.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I already signed up for the half Ironman, so I had to out of commitment, right?
Right.
Yeah. So like my last race that I did, I swam in the water, in the ocean. In the water.
You swam in the water.
I swam in bricks. So I swam in the ocean, and it was super choppy. It was bad weather. Even the people that have been racing for a long time, like this was terrible. And even with all that, I finished in 2 hours and 26 minutes.
Wow, huge improvement.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was night and day. Yeah.
Did you have what caused that? Just more time training? Did you switch your training philosophy? Did you just get better?
I bought a trainer. I got a trainer, and just more training and technique and studying how people swim faster. That's what the whole optimization component comes after I did my Ironman.
Right.
So I was like, there has to be not an easier way to do this, but more efficient way of doing this.
Right. So your goal was based around efficiency.
Yeah.
Cool. So when that transition came, when you're like, okay, running Ironmans is cool.
Yeah.
But what I really want to be is Optimus Prime. I really want to be the best human I can be. Does that affect your training? Like when you say right now is your training.
Yeah.
Is it, okay, I want to run the fastest Ironman or do the fastest Ironman, or is it I want to be the best human and do an Ironman?
Yeah.
Or where are you at there?
It's a mix of both.
Sure.
So like after I did my Ironman, I got injured on the last part of my race. My goal was 5 hours and a half. I finished in 5 hours and 50 minutes.
Damn.
Which I would have achieved 5 hours and a half if my left calf didn't give up. Because of my mechanics were off, my hips and everything, and my left calf gave out. So I ran 11 kilometers on one leg.
Crazy.
Using my left leg as a pivot foot.
Terry Fox style.
Yeah, so my right hip was killing me because I kept pushing off of that one. And after I finished the race, I finished under 6 hours, which was cool. But it wasn't that number that I wanted. So I was like, all right, there has to be a better way for me to be more efficient on the run so I don't kill my calves every time, because it's not normal my calves are burning that much.
Right.
And on my swim, I'm like, my arms are doing more rotation than a lot of people, and those people are just and gliding through
more natural,
super easy.
Yeah.
There has to be another way of doing this. So then I started doing my research on biomechanics for when you're swimming, when you're biking, when you're running. And there's a lot of technique to it. It's not just like I'm running. There's a lot of things you need to think about, especially on the swim.
Gotcha.
So then I started optimizing every aspect of my training in terms of the swimming, biking, running. It only started there because I was like, swimming, if you put your hand properly and you pull properly, I can do a third less of the stroke and pass people.
Right. So less energy expenditure. Yeah.
And same for the bike. If you push a certain way, you're more efficient. So you're not burnt out at the end. You can run, 20K.
Right.
And same for your run. You can finish your run and be good and go hang out after.
Which is amazing. Yeah.
Which is the goal, because you go to a restaurant, eat a bunch of food. But then I was like, okay, I want to perform. I want to be good at this. This was another. I want to be a professional bodybuilder. I want to be a professional basketball player. I want to be a professional modeling. But I was never good at those things.
Right.
I was never modeling.
You weren't talented. You worked. You had skill. You developed what you needed.
The game, understanding the game. Never understood it.
Wow.
I just knew how to shoot a ball and be big. Bodybuilding, same thing. It doesn't require skill. You just have to put in the hours in the gym in order for it to make it work.
Right. The variable's hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And powerlifting and bodybuilding one thing I neglected was recovery. Because in my head, I was like, if I want to be better, the whole concept of don't train as hard and you can train more often and you get more hours in. It's like the same concept now. It's like, okay, I need to get, if I train more, if I train harder when I'm training, I'm optimizing my time and I can push harder every time and I can get better every single time. So what's the variable that allows me to do that? I'm like, well, if I recover well, I can push hard as much as I want the next day. And if I recover well, I can do that every single day.
Yeah. So it became all about recovery.
Yeah. So the name of the game was recovery. I was like, how can I adapt my nutrition to optimize my recovery? How can I optimize my sleep to adapt my recovery? My mindset, my relationships, my life, how my house is set up, how my freaking bank account is set up.
Crazy.
Like, all that. I started setting up all those systems to make sure that I was optimizing recovery, and I was just focusing on that.
Wow. So you went 360, every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
So you had to take some serious personal inventory to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially on the relationship part and the mindset. I mean, relationship, like not only with my girlfriend, but with friends and family and all that. Yeah,
sure. No doubt. That's why you ain't called me for a while, bro. But even with that, like, this is going to sound terrible, and I don't mean it this way, but like you're optimizing your relationships. You have a girlfriend with cancer. Now that's, as much as it's beautiful that you support her emotionally, financially, physically, every way, that's a huge drain on your goals. So there had to be a point, or maybe there wasn't. Yeah. You had some decision making to make there. And not even questioning your relationship. I'm just saying, if we want to talk about optimization, you have something that's potentially a huge drag. Right? That's a really fucking tough position to be in. And I think a lot of people are in just not Ironmans, where it's just like, I really need to focus here. I really need to develop this skill. I really need to do this. And right now, even this person that I love dearly is just like dragging me down. And I'm putting energy towards that person because I love them. But if I'm trying to accomplish this goal,
there's the best way I can put it is there's a fine line between being optimized and alone and being as optimized as you can be with amazing relationship. Like you hear a lot of stories of people like, my wife left me, she divorced me because I was working too much and all that. And like I know a lot of people that are in that spectrum. And I was like, I don't want that. Like, this sucks. Like, all I look forward to at the end of the race is to see Jen when she screams, like, go Luckie. Like, I have videos of her, like, on Instagram when she says that. I'm like, I just want to hear that voice. I just want to see her at the finish line. No, like, that's all I'm looking forward to be honest. And I don't see it as, in terms of, like, optimizing 100%, there's a lot of shit I would cut out. You know, I wouldn't hang out with anyone because it would just be like recovery. My life would suck. I would be super good, but my life would suck. I feel like it needs to be like a fine balance between that line.
And even having that mental health will help you in the end too. It's not a total loss. It's not a total loss. Friends are not a total loss. Girlfriends are not a total loss. Like that will that'll contribute to your mental health, which in the end will contribute to your physical health, and in the end will get you better results. That's such a hard thing to do. You're saying all these things like, in the end, I don't want to look back on my life, or in the end, I don't want to have this, or in the end, this. It's like you're kind of looking retrospectively at your life. Like even when you're a kid coming up from Quebec, it's like, well, I don't want to be this kid that just stayed in this town. I want to be free, or I don't want my story to be this. I don't want my story to be that. Are you proactively thinking like that? Is that part of your decision making to this day? And was it always part of your decision making? Like, you were always thinking that way.
I feel it's like, let's say I have an idea of what I want my life to look like. I just know what I don't want it to look like. And for some people, I know it's not like the best way to approach it, but I feel like I'm constantly reverse engineering what I want, and I'm super aware that my actions will affect how my future is going to look like. And I forget who, I think it's in the Bible actually. Or no, I think it was in the Bible. Mix it up. Tony Robbins. The Bible of self-development.
Right.
So he said, if you have a boat, two boats going side by side, if you have your boat pointed towards your goal and you're clear on what that's going to look like, then you're going to go. But if you're 2 degrees off in 100-kilometer distance, your goal is here and you're all the way over there. So I'm making sure that I don't end up over there. I'm still working on the clarity aspect of it. I'm just going through life and enjoying it right now. I just see what other people have. I'm like, I don't want that. I see how that affects the relationship. And for me, it's weird that I think about that now, but like when I'm going to have a kid, I'm fully aware that whatever I will say, do, act will shape his mindset, because now that I've done the work, I understand what my dad and my mom did and how it shaped me into the good and the bad. Mm-hmm. So I'm being very careful of how I'm becoming, because when I have a kid, I want to be okay with the fact that he looks at me as a role model. And if I want to be in that role model position, I have an idea what that's going to look like. Mm-hmm. I know what it's not going to look like. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to be in a position where I'm a bad role model in my idea.
So you don't shape it. So you reverse engineer. Mm-hmm. You don't shape it based on what you clearly have. You don't clearly have an articulated goal, so to speak, in broad terms.
Yeah.
But you know, okay, that's bad. I can identify that. No, don't want that. That's not my path. That's not my path. That's not my path. And by process of elimination, you narrow in and maybe can get a clearer idea of what you want.
And I'm also 25. I'm figuring this shit out too, right?
Yeah, you're super young.
Yeah, so yeah. I'm still clarifying. I'm still looking into clearly what that looks like.
So where the fuck did this maturity come from? Not to say that you were immature.
Yeah.
But this is I'm sure, but like this is a level of maturity that's typically not exemplified until later in life.
Yeah.
What do you attribute it to?
Just the shit I've gone through, man. For me to be homeless, and I don't like to say homeless, but you know, sleeping in the streets
without a home.
Yeah, without a home for a couple of days. You get a lot of time alone. You get to reflect on like why you're there, mm-hmm. and makes you realize how much you're driven. When I almost took my life away, that was a big wake-up call, and things that how I was dealing with life, how I was approaching life, and that if I kept reacting this way, my life would be shitty because I would always be a victim. Mm-hmm. And then with my girlfriend getting sick, that was another big wake-up call.
Right.
But honestly, I owe all of this to fitness.
Wow.
So it wasn't like that before. I didn't have that mindset before, but now that I look back, I can connect the dots. It makes sense. When you're training and you're pushing your limit, you kind of get that mind muscle connection where your mind turns off and it's like, I can't do another one, but like, oh, my arm can still go up.
Oh, look, my arm went up. Yeah.
I don't think I can deadlift 500 pounds, but I'm like, if I actually try, I know I can lift the 500 pounds.
All the time, man. All the time.
So you keep pushing those limits. You get mentally stronger every time. So I started slowly with weightlifting, and then with basketball, and then with powerlifting. And then with modeling was a different type of endurance because I had more cardio base and more mindset because you're getting screwed over all the time. And then when it came to the bike ride, it was like, I'm tired. Like, I just want to give up. Like, my legs hurt. It's raining. My tent is wet. I have to go in there. But like, I can't give up because Jen's not giving up, so I have no reason to give up. And then the more I kept training and pushing my limits, that's what allowed me to stay when Jen got sick. I owe that to that. Like, I built my mindset to the point where when my girlfriend gets diagnosed with cancer, I'm like, fuck yeah, bring it on, dude. I'm not happy about it, but I'm ready to kill it. Yeah. And now with me going through this and pushing my limits even further with Ironman, I'm like,
perfect.
Yo, life, what you got, man?
Yeah, like come on, anything. Yeah. Give me anything. Serve it up on a platter. I'm here.
Yeah.
When's the documentary coming out?
When I win Ironman World Championship.
When you win Ironman World Championship, we're going to make sure that documentary happens.
Yeah, 2020, man. I'm putting it out there.
2020?
Yeah. 2020. I'm trying to qualify for the World Championship for, half Ironman, because that's my distance. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to qualify for the Olympic distance and the half Ironman Championship for 2020. Damn. The races are coming up next year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because you're now in a plane or a playing field that you're talented in.
Yeah.
And you're built for.
I can swim. My body's built for swimming.
Yeah.
Those are paddles, man.
Yeah, no, you're built to be a superhuman. So it's amazing that you found that route. And I mean, in terms of the documentary, it's always funny, man, because I look back at life and I'm like, whenever I have big decisions to make, for me, it's always like, okay, I'm 60 years old. I'm watching my biopic. What do I want to write in the script right now? You know, it's like, okay, I know how the story's gone till now. How the fuck am I going to shape it? And what's going to make the best life possible, the best documentary possible, and the best script possible? It's like, and so that leads me sometimes to take shittier routes because it's like, you know what, that'll be fun. Like, you know, like, okay, I see that, and I understand it's difficult, but like at the end of the day, I'm going to be able to say that I did that, and you know, that's going to be there forever. And it's going to, I mean, we're both Gary Vee fans, the whole regret thing, where it's just like, I know there's a route here where I can even if it's monetary value, I know I can make this 10 grand right now, but you know what? Fuck it. Let's take no money. Let's take no money. And in 3, 4, 5, 10 years, you know, we'll see a bag that's even bigger. Not that it's about money, but like the concept still stands so strong. So I just look at it like I'm really writing that documentary, or trying to find a way to write that documentary. Can
I say something on that? Just a friendly warning.
Sure.
I used to think like that.
Mm-hmm.
And because I wanted the story to be so cool, I purposefully made my life harder for no reason. That's just from my personal experience.
I could see that.
Yeah. So like the whole like New York, I didn't have to do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, cool story if I get it though. And
it's a terrible decision making process.
But I just realized that like life's hard enough, and you're going to be challenges are going to be thrown your way, and then you have to conquer them. And then the more you ask of life, the bigger the problems. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, they're going to be coming. I don't need to look for them right now.
Problems are going to come down my way for sure. I definitely hear that for sure, man. It's fun. You through athletics and fitness, you realize that easy is the worst way possible. You know what I mean? You're like, why would I do that? It's too easy. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like that's retarded. I don't want to go that route at all. So I'm going to flip the script completely and go the hardest way because it's funner that way. Which leads to ton of misery along the way.
And a lot of growth.
A lot of growth. And the reward feels, 20 times better. But logically, it makes no sense. Like, in your mind and your primal brain, your decision-making process makes no sense. Right? Oh, there's a mountain, let's go climb it. When there's probably a fucking house. So you could go, I guarantee, like, if you're looking at that mountain, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go sleep under some trees. I guarantee if you would have just knocked on 5 doors and like, can I sleep here? One of them would have let you in. I guarantee
like in New York,
it.
Someone did.
Exactly. Right? But that speaks to something even bigger, where it's like, a lot of the times as humans, we have to trick ourselves. We have to trick ourselves into doing things that we don't want to do because our current intellectual brain knows that in the long term that this is actually better for us, versus our primal brains being like, no, I need food. Right? How do you conquer that in training? Because that happens all the time. We're not designed to do these distances. Like, this is crazy. Right? The level that you train at is not normal for a human being, and our bodies don't naturally want to do that. Our only job as a body, as a human, is to preserve. That's all we're trying to do. But
human nature
is,
we're adaptable as fuck. The only reason why we're still here is because we're the only ones that adapted that well.
We're malleable.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So same for training. Like, if you go from 0 to 100, you go from 0 running an Ironman, like, you're probably going to get really sick or get injured because your hips are not used to that movement. You're going to rip something because the overusage over a period of 6 hours, you won't be able to take it.
Right.
But if it's a slow progression, running a half marathon, I'm like, it's easy. When I started, I was like, oh my God, I've never ran this in my entire life. Right. But the stronger you get, the stronger your muscle gets, eventually it becomes a new standard of normal.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say everybody can be a superhuman, but it's just slow progression over time. Like, we're made to adapt to our environment. Like, people will go in relationships where they hate their husband, but they'll still adapt to the situation because they're comfortable there. Maybe a bad metaphor, but we're just created to adapt to everything. That's what allows us to live for that long.
Sure, and you do that incrementally. So, for instance, when you first went for a long distance run, like when I was in high school and my coach was like, you need to get in shape, so join the run club. It was like 6K. It was like, holy fuck.
5K was long.
And it took me like, I don't know, like 40 minutes or something, like ridiculous. So like, I was just like, I had to stop a million times, and I was like, this is insane. This is the longest distance ever. Like, before this podcast, I did like 6K in like 20 something minutes. It was no problem, right? It's just a walkthrough, right? So like, what was your, for instance, say I'm someone that I just hit 10K or somewhere where you were before you started training for this Ironman, where I don't know, maybe were you running like 10K? Would that be a long run? What would be a long run for you before you started this training process? 5K?
Yeah,
sure.
For sure.
So you're
like, it's long and boring. Who wants to run for that long?
Sucks. What the hell am I doing here? So like, what was your incremental process up to a half marathon? Like actual numbers here.
I don't have actual numbers,
you
to
don't
be
know?
honest, because there's I just bought a program for 6 months. There's an app called Training Peaks where I just went on there. I'm like, I want to run a half Ironman in this much time. This is how much hours I have per week. And it shows you a list of workout that you can buy.
Wow.
And then it has everything. I still use that app. Just my coach coaches me through that.
Sure.
I was just doing whatever was on the paper.
Wow.
Yeah. I need, that's a system that I need to put in place, because if I create the workout, it's going to be different because I'll do too much.
Right.
If I do my own workout, I'll be
problem.
like, I don't really feel sore. I can keep going, and I'll keep pushing, and I'll overwork, and I can't recover.
For the next one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So that's why I need to get a structure in place. That's the one thing I know about me. I can't create my own workouts. Even though I study personal training, I can't build my own workouts.
See, that's crazy to me. Like, I know you can build other people's workouts, but for you, it's so funny that you have the intellect to understand that you can't build your own workout, and yet you still can't get past that, because when the shit hits the fan and you're in the fucking workout and you're like, like, I know it says 10, but I can do 15.
Yeah. But it's also that, have someone to hold me accountable.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, it's like, I'm working on that, but like keeping your word to yourself is something that's really hard. Like, we say a lot of shit. We don't do like half of it.
A quarter of it.
So I'm doing like a seminar on integrity right now. It's waking me up a lot. So if I say I'm going to do this workout and I'm going to stick to it, I can't, because you feel so good and you just keep pushing. So I'd rather have someone to hold me accountable. It's like, hey, I pay you for this. And at the end of the day, like, the data shows on my phone once I upload it from my watch, and it needs to match.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, and he sets the pace too. So sometimes I'm like, I'm feeling a bit weaker today, I'm gonna go a bit slower. He's like, nope, this is the pace.
No, you're not. Yeah. This is what it is.
Yeah.
So as a high level athlete that understands himself, understands the training, and has the intelligence and curiosity to train extremely well. Again, so you said accountability you need a coach for, but what the fuck else do you need a coach for? Or a coach for, sorry. I know what you need a couch for, my man. You definitely need a couch. Yeah. You could use a day on a couch. Yeah. What do you need a coach for? Accountability? What? Like, damn.
Well, honestly, for the knowledge, because I've never studied triathlon training. It's a whole different ballgame than making a weight training session.
Right.
Yeah. In terms of like how you structure a swim, a bike, and a run workout. Mm-hmm. For me, it's like, okay, run 5K this day, 7K this way. But like, no, there's drill, there's tempos you need to train. Like I told you, like your aerobic system, using oxygen, you need to train that pathway in a specific way, which I don't know how to do. Right. It's just like knowledge I haven't acquired yet.
Right, for sure. So what's on your radar now that I don't want to say you've conquered, because this is not a term that you'd use. But obviously you have certain goals for an Ironman. You said 2020, you put that out there. But what I'm saying is more, what's on your radar now, and to further optimize yourself? Like, you're such a knowledge fiend, so I know you're constantly taking things in. What's baffling you? What's high on your radar now?
Honestly, besides the athletic thing, I'm just trying to learn more for the company that like I'm running right now. Okay. Just more knowledge about plant-based nutrition and how to heal the body naturally. Right. Which actually, my friend sent me the shirt today. It says
"Eat real to heal." Hello. Yeah. P.S. I love you.
Yeah, it's a campaign. She's running a challenge. So you send like a letter to someone and saying how much you care about them, and like
super cool. I like it a lot.
So just trying to deepen my knowledge in terms of plant-based nutrition and how you can heal the body, because what we discovered with my girlfriend is that you can have amazing results once you start eating the proper foods. Right. Once you start consuming the right things, like it makes a major shift in your body in terms of inflammation, disease prevention. Yeah. Right.
So beyond that, even past that, so what made you go? Because as much as we've mentioned this whole Ironman thing, what we haven't mentioned is you're completely vegan. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Sidebar. And he also has a prosthetic leg. Just kidding. Yeah. He's blind in one eye. Yeah. No. So you are completely vegan. Yeah. What made you go down that route? When did you go down that route? And what's made you to continue to take that path while on this journey of total optimization?
Yeah. So I went vegan about 5 years ago when I started.
Damn, 5 years ago?
Yeah, almost. Yeah. Damn. Which is like for almost 5 years. Yeah. When I first started modeling, I leaned out for my first photo shoot. Yeah. But when I did my shoot, I just canceled the fitness modeling show that I was going to do. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm just going to do modeling full time, like as a side hobby. But I was like, I need to get smaller, but I'm super lean right now. I don't have no idea where I can lose. And then the agents can be like, lose here,
Yeah,
lose
it's
here.
Yeah.
I was like,
this
oh,
gone, this gone,
so
these gone.
All the muscle have been working for like 4 years, like
Lose 'em.
disappearing.
Yeah.
So then I went online because when I have a goal, I'm super dedicated. I was like, what types of diet would allow me to be skinny? And then vegan came up. I was like, fuck, I'm going vegan.
Boom, done.
Yeah.
Vegan's the best one? We'll take it.
I went from eating 12 eggs for breakfast and 3 chicken breasts every 2 hours for like 3 years and a half to like going vegan.
That's so gross.
Yeah. Now it's super gross, but yeah. To going vegan.
Hey man, I eat meat. That shit's fucking bad.
It was a lot. It was a lot. Went vegan and didn't do it properly because I had no knowledge about how to eat vegan, right?
Right.
Like
so you probably have nutrition.
Yeah. You're just your macronutrient content. You can go super high on carbs and you're messed up. Anyways, I learned more and more. And in a year, I lost 80 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
When I was in Italy, I weighed myself. I was 162.
What are you right now?
172.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're fighting
I'm
weight.
leaner. I'm more muscle mass.
So you're fighting weight right now is what? What's your optimal weight? Where are you at right now?
I feel like once I'm at between 168 and 170 right now, but before then I wasn't super lean. I was just really skinny. When I wear clothes, I look skinny. Now I'm on the leaner side. So if I lose like a little bit more weight, I want to experiment between 168 and 170 and see how I perform. If I can't put out as much power as 168, I'm going to try 170.
What do you feel the best at?
I don't know. I'm just 172 right now. So like I feel good right now, but I still feel when I'm running and I'm biking, I'm still carrying a bit too much weight.
I got you. Yeah, I know for sure. How does it affect you, and how do you get around those? So there's a lot of people right now that want to go vegan or want to go vegetarian for ethical reasons or health reasons. There's a plethora of reasons why you would want to go, and a couple of reasons why you wouldn't want to go. So there's what are the advantages to taking that shit out of your diet? And why do you continue on that route as like today, 5 years down the line?
Yeah. So the reason I stayed after like the whole modeling thing was done is because I started feeling super great. The best way to put it is I felt great. I felt fine before. I didn't think there was a problem with me until I went plant-based and I experienced a new level of how good I could feel. I was like, oh shit, there's another level to this? And I started feeling this way. And apparently my sinuses were blocked up my whole life. My digestive system was messed up. The reason I had acne was
inflammation.
Inflammation, mucus production from dairy, and like digestive system from eating all the meat.
Right.
And then my stomach cleared up. I wasn't bloated anymore. My skin cleared up. Like this tension went away. And I didn't even know I had this tension. That's a crazy thing. Like it just disappeared. I was like, oh shit.
Another level.
Yeah. So I experienced that. I was like, oh, well, why would I go back? Right?
Yeah, it makes sense. Sure.
But because I like to experiment, I had a piece of meat. I felt like shit.
Interesting.
So I didn't go back. And then I stayed on that path, just like eating normally because I was just, not necessarily trying to compete at a higher level. And then when Jen got sick, then I was like, okay, like, if she's doing the natural road, like I know food is a big component of healing. So I started doing more research and I was like, oh, like you can do all of this with plants?
Right.
Like this is amazing.
Right.
Like you eating foods, just like quick fact, you eating foods that are high in chlorophyll, like kale, spinach, chard and all that. It increases your production of red blood cells, which makes that you process oxygen a lot better. It's like a smaller version of training in an altitude camp.
Wow.
From eating chlorophyll. Very cool. Just from food, which is really cool. So the more I learned, I was like, man, like I can reduce inflammation. I'm like, oh, my knees feel better. My elbows and my shoulders feel better when I'm swimming. Clearer thoughts. And I just started feeling better and better. The more I learned, the more I applied to things. I was like, why step back? Now I don't expect people to be at my level, but I'm a princess. Like I'm gluten-free now. Like, what the fuck?
Right.
Apparently gluten's hurt my stomach now because the cleaner I got, the more things affected me. So now I'm really careful with what I eat. Yeah, for sure. So, but there also are some people, well, actually depends on who you ask. There's some people that will say that certain foods are more bioavailable to us depending on our heritage and where we're from. So that could be very different as well for different people. There's also people that say that you can, as you change your diet, we're so malleable, you can adjust if you just get over that hangover phase. Do you think that your body was just more naturally adapted to go plant-based? Not at all, because I was eating more meat than anyone was eating. Really? Yeah. Like nobody eats 15 chicken breasts in a day and 12 eggs.
That's nasty,
right?
man.
But my mindset in terms of diet and eating food, is something called Ayurvedic medicine, which I'm still studying, but it's basically different body types, and depending where you're from. Like Jen, she's from the Philippines, so she needs warmer, more oily foods. I'm from Quebec. Like I can eat ice cream when it's cold outside and I feel fine. Mm-hmm. When it's humid, like so humid and hot, it gives me anxiety. And she's like, oh my God, I feel so good.
Right.
And when it's cold, I'm thriving. And she's like, dude, I can't feel my legs.
Yeah, I can't do anything.
So your body being adapted to a certain region definitely affects the food that you're supposed to be eating. And I don't believe, it's going to shock a couple of vegans, but I don't believe everybody would thrive on a plant-based diet. Because if you come from up north, like where are you going to get your fresh fruits and vegetables?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
You're going to eat meat, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get the fat from meat. It's how you're going to stay alive. So I don't believe everyone would thrive on a plant-based diet depending on where you live and where you're from. But definitely like when I share on Instagram and on YouTube, this is my experience with it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not saying it's an end all be all for everybody, but it's what I'm experiencing, and I want to invite other people to try on the experience and see how they feel.
No doubt. Absolutely.
I believe your body can adapt, but there's genetic like predispositions in your body that wouldn't allow you to do so
as smoothly. Yeah, for sure. So you said earlier in the podcast, you mentioned about changing your fuel source over to fat a little bit. So what comes to mind for me is a ketogenic diet, which would not work for you. Could it? Can you do a ketogenic diet?
Well, there's that definition of keto diet where you need less than 5% of carbohydrates. So less than 5% of carbs. Mm-hmm. So you can still, from some other research that I found, you can still produce ketones, even if you eat a little bit higher amounts of carbs.
Sorry, I'm going to put you on the spot here. So for listeners, please explain what a ketogenic diet is. And please explain what ketones are.
Okay. So,
because not everyone's a superhuman like you.
So ketogenic diet is you have a higher content of carbohydrates, lower content of carbs, and medium amounts of protein, but your carbohydrate is supposed to be under 5% of your intake of calorie, which is extremely low.
It's nothing.
You eat a broccoli and you're screwed. And ketones is, I'm still not too sure about the definitions. Basically what your body produces when you're in that ketosis state, and it helps your body use fat as a source of energy.
Rather than glucose.
Which is interesting because you have about like 2,000 calories, 2,500 calories of glycogen in your body that you can use up. Mm-hmm. You have about 50,000 calories of fat stored in your body.
And that's why you're trying to go to the fat.
It's basically unlimited. You'll never have an event that you'll race that will use 50,000 calories. Mm-hmm. Hasn't been done. Even 3 Ironmans in a row. So what about those 100-miler? The Ultraman.
What's it called? Ultraman.
Well, Ultraman is 3 Ironmans in 3 days. There's something called the Epic 5, where you do 5 Ironmans in 5 days. And there's a guy named James Lawrence who's called the Iron Cowboy. He did 50 Ironmans in 50 days in 50 different states, all in a row. So, for people who don't know, 3.6 kilometer swim, 180 kilometer bike, and 42.2 kilometer run every day for 50 days in 50 different states. That includes travel. He would finish racing, jump in the RV, his wife would drive to the next state, and he'd do another one, and bam, 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 50 days.
Crazy.
There's a level that I want to achieve, which is this one. There's a guy named Ross Edgley. He's swimming around Great Britain right now. He's been 100 days at seas, hasn't touched land in 100 days. Obviously, he gets on a boat to sleep and stuff, but always starts from the same spot, and like you can track him through the Red Bull app. But he's at 100 days, and he has probably like another 40 to go.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
So that's the level you want to get to.
Oh man, yeah,
perfect.
For me, this makes sense. Like, why not do that?
That's the logical thing to do. I don't know about that.
So what we were talking about was
ketones and
ketone. So I'm doing a lower carbohydrate diet and higher fat content with obviously to standards, lower amounts of protein.
So what foods do you use to accomplish that?
I can say I always start my mornings off with a bulletproof coffee.
Yeah.
So I'll throw some brain octane, I'll throw some hemp oil in there, I'll throw some coconut cream. Yeah. I'll throw some CBD oil in there, and coffee or matcha, whatever I feel like. And I'll go train for 2-3 hours. I'll make my own electrolyte drink, which is coconut sugar with electrolytes and BCAAs. If my workout is higher in intensity, I'll have a certain amount of sugar in it. If it's lower intensity, if it's really low, I won't have any drink. because I just want to use my fat storage because my heart rate's super low and it's in that zone.
Yep.
So I won't drink anything besides water. And then after that, like I'll have that's the only time I have my fruits is after my training. I have blueberries and raspberries.
Back up.
Yeah. Blueberries and raspberries, low glycemic index, low in sugar. So I'll have like a smoothie bowl with that, some hemp protein, some Vitago, some hemp seeds and everything.
Sure. Shout out Vitago.
Yeah, shout out Vitago. It's amazing. So then I'll usually have like a big salad with some avocado, some hemp seeds, throw some nuts in there, and I'll just a variety of vegetables in it. And at night, I'll probably make something similar.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Or depending when my girlfriend cooks, I'll just eat that.
Right. So there's not a whole lot of variety in there. Is there?
Well, like in your salad?
Like from on a 24-hour scale, like the foods you just described are incredibly diverse, but I'm just saying on a monthly basis.
But different vegetable. Yeah. Depending what's in season, right? You got to eat what's in season. It's better for your body at the time.
Right.
Yeah. I'm definitely not nutrient deficient. I've tested that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So how much blood work do you do? Do you do any?
Not often, no? To be honest.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, just from time to time, like if I feel weak, I'll be like, is that it?
Maybe something's up. Yeah. Okay, for sure. How cost efficient is that in
to
Vancouver?
Eat that way?
Yes.
If you have connections, it's really great, which I do. We've built an amazing team for taking care of Jen in various industries. So yeah, we're well taken care of with the people we've met.
That's amazing.
Also, what I'm trying to do, and kind of like behind the scenes, I'm not necessarily saying it out loud on social media, but a lot of people focus on macronutrients in terms of protein, carbs, and fat, and micronutrients, which would be your vitamins, your minerals, your essential fatty acids, amino acids. I'm trying to focus on nutrient density over macronutrients. So you could basically eat less food, but have a higher density in micronutrients. You would feel fuller because that's what your reserves fill up with, right? It's pretty much like your stomach. But once you get your nutrients from your macronutrients, that's when your stomach starts feeling full.
So a good example would be pasta, for instance, on a bad scale. For micronutrients, a great food would be
like you eat like a big salad.
Yeah, sure.
You eat a salad versus like a bag of chip that would have the same amount. If you eat a salad that has 1,000 calories and a bag of chips has 1,000 calories, you can eat 10 bags. You'll never be able to finish 1,000 calorie salad. Yeah. I wouldn't even attempt that. That would be way too much food.
Huge.
Yeah, because of the fiber content, the nutrient content, you would feel full right away. So you could basically go higher nutrients, eat less food. So it kind of balances out your cost in terms of groceries. But you'll be healthier if you focus on that.
Got you.
And more nutrients you have, the better you recover, the better your brain functions, the better everything functions.
What about bioavailability in terms of eating a plant-based diet?
Yeah.
So for instance,
like raw cooked foods.
Exactly. How do you approach that?
I've experienced with both. I eat mostly like 80% raw.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Why?
So there's a doctor called Gabriel Cousins and Dr. Sebi, which are two huge.
Dr. Sebi, rest in peace.
Yeah. So their research is, I think Dr. Sebi actually is like 80% cooked, 80% raw, 20% cooked. And Dr. Gabriel Cousins has like a bit of a different ratio, but it's pretty similar because the food is, the enzymes are still alive, which still gives you more nutrients to your cells. Yeah, compared to if you cook it, you kill some of the enzymes. Wow. Some vegetables are better cooked than raw.
Which are better cooked?
Oh man, I have a list at home.
Anything off the top of your mind? I'm thinking about like dense foods.
I think like chard and kale are better cooked for you.
Right. Yeah. Because they're that makes total sense.
Yeah.
So then how much of your mental energy goes towards your food every day, or is it just automated? Is it just like, yep, I know what I'm eating? Or
I try to eat the same meal in terms of structure, but if I eat like a salad, whatever vegetables I have in the fridge, I'll just put that in there. I don't go too complicated because I do get everything through Vitago. But it's true though. Like that's why I like it so much, because I don't have to worry about it, and whatever I eat on top of it is just a bonus. So I just eat, throw some 10, 15 veggies in there, throw a bunch of stuff, make it taste good. But you don't need to have like, I used to think like I need carrots. I need a couple carrots,
whole motherfucking bag. Go to Costco.
Eating a little bit of everything, and then you just eat that, whatever tastes good, make it taste good.
Yeah, great advice. So for somebody that is super new to this world and new to just optimizing yourself in general, or just like, I'm an average person, I'm just trying to eat a little bit healthier, what would you say there's maybe 2-3 things you cut out and 2-3 things you could add in right off the bat for an average Canadian diet, which we know is not that great?
So what I tell to, so when people ask me that, obviously this is the simple stuff, like cut out processed sugar, cut out deep fried food. And but the other thing is, I'll tell you 4.
I'll take 4.
Can
I get 5?
Don't keep food that's bad for you in your house. If it's there, you're gonna eat it. If there's ice cream in my freezer, there's 2 tubs. I'm gonna eat 2 tubs right now.
God damn.
But I don't put it there because I know I'm gonna eat it.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, exactly. So don't keep food that's bad for you in your freezer, and always have a lunch or snacks with you. I have like granolas in the car, which I all ate on my way here. But yeah, like granola bars and nuts and seeds and whatever. So that if you have a craving, it's not like A&W or like Subway or something like that. You just eat that to sustain you until you get home.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
And what was the other one?
What would you take? Sorry, what would you add? That's what you would add in, and then what would you like? I'm talking about specific foods. So when you say processed sugars, I don't know what's a processed sugar. You know what I mean? Like
anything that doesn't grow from earth, basically.
So most of the food.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you can't buy it around the aisles in the grocery store, it's probably has sugar in it.
That's a great thing you just skipped over right there. What? It's because honestly, no. Somebody told me that a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Because if you're super brand new and you're like, man, I just go out to eat with my friends every once in a while, and I just go to the grocery store and I just buy shit that I like. Yeah. And I was like, how the fuck do I navigate this? Because I don't know anything about nutrients.
Yeah.
Your advice would be?
So everything that's around the aisles in the grocery store is all the fresh stuff. Everything that's processed and in a can is in the middle of the grocery store. It's better for you to buy and eat a banana or an orange than for you to buy a granola bar. There's probably sugar added to granola bar and a bunch of crappy oils.
And preservatives.
And preservatives. You're better off to eat a fruit, even if it has like more sugar. It's natural sugar. It's like 20 grams of sugar in your bar.
That's the other thing people don't understand. Like, all sugar is not created equally. Like, for instance, if you drink a can of soda, your body doesn't know how to regulate that sugar throughout.
There's so much in there.
It's insane. There's new regulations coming out for that too, actually. Versus if you eat, like, you could never die off of bags of raspberries. You know what I mean?
Dude, I did Banana Island for a week, just like a raw vegan thing where you pretty much eat around 30 bananas a day for 7 days. But it's great because it's something called monomeal. So when you give your body the same food, it gives a break to your digestive system because it knows how to break it down. It's like, oh, it's the same thing. Yeah. It's easy to break down. It gives a break to digestive system, helps with weight loss, helps with like clearing your skin and all that. And people are like, what if you overdose on potassium? I'm like, dude, you need like 400 bananas in like 30 seconds.
Your body knows how to regulate it.
Yeah, like there's no way you could do it. You can't fit that many bananas in your mouth. It's super weird
stomach.
To say.
Yeah. That's fucking hilarious. So what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting? Because you're saying, as I'm going through your routine. I do it
when I sleep.
Right? No, seriously, when you hop up, you'll do your meditation, your gratitude, and you'll have that bulletproof coffee. Like,
the bulletproof breaks it because of the fat content.
Okay.
Yeah, because it would be 0 calories, right? Black coffee would be fine, I feel.
Okay,
yeah, but I'm adding like 400 calories of fat to it.
Right. Did you experiment with intermittent fasting before?
I did. Yeah.
And?
I lost, like, my goal was to get leaner. I did get leaner. I enjoyed it. But now I'm hungrier.
You were expending a ridiculous amount of calories, so it makes sense.
So I'm still adapting the whole strategy of higher nutrients and lower in calorie. Like, I'm experimenting with that. I don't even know if it's going to work, but if it does, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm still super hungry all the time. So I can't like not eat for a long period of time.
I get it.
And I've tried training empty stomach because when it's 2-3 hours at a time, like after an hour, like I'm done. Yeah. My stomach's like, you're empty for real.
See, for me, I don't do those crazy endurance workouts. Like, I won't really have any physical exertion over 2 hours. So if I do intermittent fasting, it's got to be a workout less than 90 minutes. And I can zone in, I can lock the fuck in for that 90 minutes. But as soon as we go past that, it's like I'm dead, done, over. It's like, I'm sure you used to take pre-workout, or maybe you still do.
So much, not anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's super bad for you. But like when you take pre-workout and you're like, you're going. That's what I'm like intermittent fasting until that hour or 90 minute mark. And it's like as if I just took a bunch of pre-workout and I just And it's like I can't even lift that weight. Yeah, it's like
glycogen is used up. You're empty.
I'm completely done. So, but would you recommend it at all for people that are trying to lose weight, but not necessarily optimize?
Honestly, the best tool is experiment. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
Like there's no, the reason I find it, so I was reading about that in Gabriel Cousin's book. Every diet works for the right type of person.
Got you.
And every diet works if you follow it 100%.
So in conclusion, there's no answers.
There's none. There's
only
not like
questions.
You have to eat this way and this is the end all be all. It'll make you lose weight, make you feel healthier.
Yeah.
We're working on that. There's people working on that, but and there's no experiment for yourself. And if you're going to commit to a specific type of diet, like give it 100%. If it doesn't work, that's not the way for you.
Switch it up, try something else. Damn.
Yeah. And I just want to go back to what you said about 3 tips for people.
Yeah, please.
Eat around the grocery store, not in the middle aisles.
Yeah.
Drink more water.
Yes.
Because you're just dehydrated. You're not hungry. And the third...
So true. Sorry, you're going to skip over that? That is so true. If you pee and that's all yellow, man, you are doing something wrong.
Yeah. If you can close the light and see it, you're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. We are always dehydrated, especially in society. And hydration does not mean go get a Gatorade. Hydration means water.
Yeah.
Get some water in you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And the third thing would be for like weight loss and nutrient density, just eat a salad before every meal.
Wow.
Just like even if it's a small salad, you're getting nutrients in. If it's the worst part of your meal, you get it done with. You eat your fibers, you get your nutrients in. And the trick behind it is that it's dense in nutrients, it has fiber, you'll feel fuller quicker. You want to finish a big meal that you have in front of you, so you won't eat the whole thing.
Makes sense. Although when food's in front of me, I have a tendency to eat it.
Yeah.
I've
learned to control myself. I used to be like that, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have a doggy bag to go. And
nice.
I've never asked for that before. I was like, what? I'm not finishing my plate. What's wrong with me?
What the heck? Yeah, no, I look at my plate as a challenge. Load it up. No, for sure, man. Is there anything else you want to add to the people? Anything you want to say? Where can we find you? Actually, first off, man, thank you for sharing your story, because it's a hell of a story that a lot of people don't or wouldn't believe. Again, like it's documentary worthy. There's a lot of stuff that we've talked about off camera, which you didn't even go into, and the story gets crazier than that. And I just want to thank you for coming on and sharing your story, and continue. We got to have you back. I know you're knowledgeable right now, but you're literally 10% of what you're going to be in 10 years, and we want to get you in 10 years, right? Because I know you're the type of person that's never going to stop.
I went 2 weeks without a goal. I was freaking out.
Yeah, come on now. Jesus Christ. Where can we find you?
On Instagram at Luckie Lifestyle.
Got you.
That's Luckie, not a Y. And on YouTube, same thing. All my links are basically on my Instagram.
Awesome.
Yeah, Instagram and YouTube are my 2 main platforms right now.
And when's your next race, first off?
September 31st for the half marathon. I think my first one next year is the UBC triathlon in March. And then whatever my coach tells me to run after that. Yeah. I think I'm going to do a half Ironman in Cozumel, Mexico next year for my qualifying race for the World Championship.
Wow.
So if you're going there, watch out. I'm coming for you.
Lucky, 2020.
Yeah.
Well, it's coming for you. Hey, man, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate that. I appreciate the time, my man.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to have you back. I appreciate you.
Thanks.
And that's it. That's a wrap.